It's America's home for political play-by-play. It's the Owen Report with Owen Schroyer.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Tuesday, August 25th, 2026 edition of the Owen Report, your home for political play-by-play, the fastest 3 hours on the internet. Start now. We got an interesting mix-up of news today, and you go through the news, you wonder what's the big story. Well, obviously, anywhere you look, you're going to be seeing Dolly Parton today. So that's kind of the big story, but not really a political story. Not really newsworthy as far as what we are looking for today. So I'm looking at it, and again, it's the Iran war. Again, it is the new war. Man, it's annoying, isn't it? That's why we have our friend here, Boomer the Groundhog, because it's another Groundhog's Day. It's another Groundhog's Day today. Trump is replaying the hits. The strait is open. The strait is closed. We've controlled the strait. We've won the war. Iran is destroyed. We've cleared the mines. It's his greatest hits. It's Trump's greatest hits. It's not arrest the deep state. It's not 10 million deportations. It's not the treasonous actors from the Obama administration, the Biden administration. It's none of that. We do have something today. Trump is addressing a situation at the Department of Education, which I actually like what he said, but the Department of Education was supposed to be closed. It's supposed to be shut down. We're not splintering the CIA and the FBI into a million pieces. We're not bringing the troops home. We haven't cut the debt. We haven't cut the deficit. So Trump's just playing the hits. And it's all about Iran. It's all about this war. It's getting a little obnoxious. We're all really sick of it. But we got to look at that today. So we will look at that. Trump playing the hits today. We have cleared the mines from the strait, and the crowd goes nuts, and the crowd goes wild. Play the hits, play the hits, play the hits. That's all they want. That's all the crowd wants from Trump. That's all MAGA wants from Trump. Play the hits. Tell me it's the golden age, Daddy. Oh my gosh, it's so pathetic. They're attacking the farmers now. They're attacking the cattle ranchers now. And we're reaching levels of a cult that I don't know if we've ever seen before in politics, quite frankly. I don't think we've ever seen a political cult like what the Trump supporters are doing, like what MAGA is doing now. They're attacking farmers and cattle ranchers because they dare question or criticize President Trump. And you know you're not allowed to do that, or this MAGA cult will find you. They'll get you. And they're going to let Daddy Trump know about your insolence. They're going to be reporting you to Daddy Trump, Laura Loomer style, on the phone. Daddy Trump, did you see the cattle ranchers and farmers, the American people that voted for you, that you made promises to? Did you see? They don't like your new policy of buying beef from Argentina, Mr. President. Did you see? Did you see? Am I a good boy? Am I a good girl? Can I get a pat on the head, Daddy Trump? Can I get a pat? Please, a pat on the head? Be nice. I ratted on bad people for you. I'm a loyal cult member. Please, Daddy Trump, please. Ooh. It's so pathetic. Where will they go next? Go down the list. They've attacked American farmers. They've attacked active duty members. They've attacked their families. I mean, what is this Trump cult? What low can this Trump cult sink to next? We almost need to do a segment. Trump Cult Watch. Trump Cult Watch. Today, what are they doing? They're attacking farmers. They're attacking cattle ranchers. So we're going to take a look at that. I want to dive a little bit more into that story about the Pentagon employee data Republican X account. And I'm not really trying to, as yesterday, dive into this good actor, bad actor, what is the problem? Some people have an issue. I'm more looking at it from the perspective of, you have to understand this is not an isolated incident. And I've been warning about this for months, maybe even years now, how you have all of these people in the media pretending to be independent, pretending to be some form of an independent researcher, and yet they're really not independent at all. They're a direct pipeline from the Trump administration to your social media feed. And I've been warning about this for a long time. Now, some cases are obvious with some of the bigger names out there that you see, flying to Ukraine, flying to India, you know who. Those ones, it's obvious they're getting deals. John Solomon, Laura Loomer, they get their exclusives. But then you kind of know that. They have public personas. They go on Fox News. They go on their shows. It's like, you know they have an in with the Trump administration. That's not really as much of a mystery. It's the independent X accounts, social media accounts, or other members of the media that don't have such a big following that pretend to be independent and unbiased, but they're really just a pipeline from the Trump administration to your social media feed. So this data Republican story is getting all the attention, but it's not an isolated incident. And so I'm going to review that and juxtapose it with something we saw yesterday, which is the other side of this, which is the digital influence campaigns. And they were running a massive digital influence campaign yesterday. So we're going to show you all of this. And it's such a strange time, isn't it? Such a strange time for people like us. We're sitting here in the twilight zone, and now it's like I have to combat, because I always just combat propaganda. It's like that is my instinct, that is my intuition. It just comes natural. I just counter propaganda. And it's just like all of the propaganda is coming from the right. All of the propaganda is coming from MAGA. All of the propaganda is coming from the Trump administration and the Republican Party. It's very odd, I have to say. Now, maybe you say, well, what's new? It's the fake left-right paradigm. It's the corrupt Republicans and the corrupt Democrats. Well, no, what's new is we thought we kind of transcended from this. We thought the whole rejection of the neocons in 2016 and the reemergence of Trump, even after the Republicans threw him under the bus after January 6th, we thought that was us transcending the propaganda coming through the right wing and saying, no, we think for ourselves. We have our own vision, and now we have our guy in office. Now, that ended up going sideways, but it's the people. It's the people of MAGA that are now promoting this propaganda. So it's strange. Very strange. We're going to take a look at that. We do have a lot of geopolitical news. I mean, it's the Iran war. It's still going on. Trump got us into another war, and now everything is just pretty much screwed. I think that's the easy way to put it. Trump got us into another war, and now we're screwed. Now we're screwed. Yeah, and then a bunch of odds and ends. Let me just say this, though, before we actually get into today's show and get into today's content, because I don't want to do a long monologue. I want to get right into the news. This is very important. I'm seeing all this talk about, the Trump administration is doing this, is doing that. The plan trusters are being rewarded. And I'm going to show coming up here after this, after we get into the show, I'm going to show you this digital influence campaign. And I'm just sitting here, I'm saying, guys, let's just do real talk for a second. All right? Get the fluff out of the way. Get the fluff out of the way. Get your headlines, get your bias, get your opinions. Let's just get everything out of the way here. And let's just get down to the bottom line for a second. Guys, we've got about 3 months probably to deport 10 million people. Let's just say it. Let's just say what it is. We've got maybe 3, 4, 5 months max to deport at least 10 million people. That's the reality of the situation. So if you want to debate foreign policy, if you want to debate what's going on in the Middle East, there's all these different things. But the mass deportation and the illegal immigration issue, this was the big one. This was the big one. And I just want to get real for a second. You have a very limited amount of time to deport at least 10 million people. Are you willing to bet the entire Trump agenda on the midterms? Are you willing to bet the entire illegal alien issue and deportation issue? Are you willing to bet that on the outcome of the midterms? Now, you'd be foolish to make that bet. But that's the bet they're making. We don't have the time, guys. We don't have the time. And what is being set up, should the Democrats get the House, the Republicans are going to cut deals in the next half of this administration, and you will get more amnesty than deportations. So what's going to happen in the next coming months is the Trump administration is going to try to convince you that they've done the mass deportations. They're going to try to convince you ahead of the midterms that they actually did it. And then you're going to have people eventually find the real numbers. You're going to have people on the inside coming out and telling you it's all a lie. Most of the so-called deportations in the data that they're going to be citing are going to be self-deportations. Less than half of the number that they're going to give you is going to be actual deportations. And you will end up getting more amnesty than deportations at this rate. And that's something Trump and the Republicans are pushing, by the way. That is now a Republican issue in the House, and Trump is campaigning for the Republicans that are writing the bills for mass amnesty. So MAGA can shoot the messenger all day long, and MAGA can be in denial all day long. But let's just say it like it is. You have a very small window of time to do mass deportations, and if you don't get something done before the midterms, they're not happening, and you're going to get an amnesty bill. And it's going to be brought to you by the Republicans. They will cut deals with the Democrats, and they will give them mass amnesty. And we're sitting here dealing with the fucking Middle East again. And we're sitting here dealing with disastrous foreign policy again. This war in Iran is a mess. And we're sitting here now with a very small window of time to do mass deportations. And do you want to know why they're not going to happen? Because Trump doesn't want them to happen. Because Trump's friends and Trump's donors that are worth billions of dollars, they make money off of the cheap labor. They want the illegal aliens here. They want the cheap labor. They want the H-1B visas here. They want the cheap labor. They want to cut deals with other countries. And all of Trump's big friends now, like Larry Fink and BlackRock and everything else, they want the mass amnesty. They don't want mass deportations. You know why? Because they've built millions of new houses and apartments. And the only way they're going to get filled is if we have tens of millions of illegal aliens here filling them up. So let's just get this straight. We can have a debate on foreign policy. We can have a debate on whether we like what is happening with the Trump administration or not. But let's all agree on one thing. You have a very small window of time to do mass deportations. This was the number one issue for MAGA and the Trump campaign. Number one. And you are running out of time to do it, and you're about to get more amnesty instead. And then you're going to sit here and do the high leg kicks and the pom-pom wavings as you get totally screwed on illegal immigration so Trump can take care of his billionaire friends that built this entire country for illegal aliens. That's why they built all the apartment complexes that they can't fill up. That's why they built all the new housing developments that they can't fill up. They're all for illegal aliens. You got sold out. You got screwed. And Trump was supposed to reverse this. Instead, he's ushering it in. I guess you could say that is my crash out rant of the day. I think that's a pretty fair way to handle that. So that rant is brought to you by Crash Out Energy. Get yours today at crashout.energy. Folks, I made this formula because I was drinking energy drinks every day before the show. Had to get my 200 milligrams of caffeine. I was chasing down my nootropics for mental focus, energy, clarity. This was my routine about, 2:30 before I would do a show so that I could have maximum energy, maximum focus for a 3-hour broadcast. But I'm drinking these energy drinks every day, and it hits me. I can't drink this every day. It's not healthy. I don't want to drink this every day. What damage am I doing to my body long term? I got to find a substitute. Or, better yet, why don't I make a substitute? So that's what I did. Crash Out Energy. 200 milligrams of caffeine, all the energy you need. The bad stuff we took out, and then we put in the good stuff, plus the nootropics for mental energy and clarity. It's all in there. It's an energy drink that's actually good for you. Believe that. An energy drink that's actually good for you. The official energy drink of the Owen Report. Crash Out Energy. Get yours today at crashout.energy.
On the cutting edge of news and analysis, the Owen Report with Owen Schroyer.
All right, so over the weekend, we covered yesterday that it appears the Republicans ahead of the midterms and Trump's going to be on the campaign trail for them. It looks like their messaging is going to be vote Republican, we need to stop the communists. Vote Republican because the Democrats are going to impeach Trump. Now, neither of these things really land with anybody because we kind of do this every year. And now the new talking point, get ready for this one. You'll be seeing a lot of this from the Republicans. You'll be seeing a lot of this from the MAGA cult. ahead of the midterms. This is the most important midterm election of your lives. Oh, my gosh. Oh, spare me. Please spare me. You guys do this every election cycle, you know? Vote Republican to stop the communists. We just did. Did you stop the communists? Because you're telling us you still need to stop the communists. Vote Republican. It's the most important election of our lives. We just did that. What have you done for us? Huh? Yeah. It's getting desperate. It's getting desperate. It's getting pathetic. But just get ready. So now when you see it, you're going to see it. It's the most important midterm of your life. Oh, my gosh. Oh, we got to stop the communists. Yeah. I would advise, you got to vote for Trump. The Democrats are going to impeach him. Really? Well, where do I go vote for that? Ooh. Not even the Democrats are running on impeaching Trump. They're going to let the Republicans run on impeaching Trump. That's how out of whack this whole MAGA thing is. That is how broken this whole MAGA thing is. And you know, guys, I'm hearing a new one now. I talked a little bit about this yesterday, some of the noise I'm getting, let's say from inside MAGA. And it's really all mindset, and it's not even about people complaining. You know, you probably saw the story about Alex Jones and the Texas suit basically slashing the fine he owed from about $50 million to about $1.5 million. It's all ridiculous. And they're still screwing him over on the East Coast. But it's like, yeah, I'll use Alex as an example just because you guys know I worked with Alex for years. And I don't want to name the other people, but I'm using Alex as an example for this story. So Alex has probably paid, I don't know how many millions for this attack on his free speech. I don't know the amounts of, I know how much it costs me just having to deal with it myself, an absurd amount of money. I'm actually embarrassed to talk about how much my legal defense and everything cost me over the years at InfoWars. It's like, it's grotesque, quite frankly. It's disgusting. So I can't even imagine what that bill is for Alex. But here's the point. Alex is not the only one. Now, Alex might be a different case because it's a free speech case and, they say he owes trillions of dollars. So the whole thing is ridiculous. But Alex is not the only person that's had to go through this for Donald Trump. Alex is not the only person who has hundreds of thousands or millions of dollars in legal bills and legal fees. And now some of these court cases that have been going on in the background for people that stood with Trump, supported Trump for a bunch of different issues. Now these things are coming to a close. Think stolen election, think January 6th. Now a lot of these things are coming to a close and they're paying their bills, hundreds of thousands of dollars, millions of dollars. They're paying this because they supported Trump. And Trump comes out and he talks about his $1 billion war chest. And he says, well, I can spend this money on anything I want. I've got $1 billion. Maybe I'll use it for the elections. I don't know. It's just total corruption. The guy thinks he's above the law. It's crazy what we're witnessing with Trump. It's truly a psychological phenomenon that will be studied for years. Trump will be studied with the likes of Hitler as far as the psychology aspect is concerned. And so now people are saying, Owen, I'm sitting here now looking at like massive debt. I'm sitting here, it's like I got to sell my house. I'm sitting here with legal fees I can't pay. The Trump administration is doing nothing to help us in these cases. And now the bill is here and I can't afford it. I don't know what I'm going to do. And they see it and they say, Owen, and these are big Trump supporters, guys. And these are people that still want to support Trump, by the way. They're not like me that has like different policy issues. They might even agree with most of the policy stuff. This isn't a policy thing. This is a personality thing. They now look at him from a personality standpoint as a liar, as a corrupt liar who screws people over. And they're sitting here and they're saying, man, we went through all this hell for Trump. He doesn't help us at all through the legal case, but okay, he's not president. Now he gets in. The legal cases are reaching their conclusion. Still nothing. Oh, they love these people when it's time to win an election. They love these people when it's time to raise funds. But then when they need little help, all of a sudden there's nothing. All of a sudden it's silence from Trump. And then they see him come out and talk about how he's got $1 billion and he can spend it however he wants. And these are people who have lost everything for supporting Trump. They might have to sell homes and cars just to pay legal fees and legal bills. And the Trump administration is doing nothing for them. And they call me, and it's not even about policy, guys. They're like, oh, and I know you got your issues with policy and you're good with that. I'm telling you, this guy's screwing us over. I'm talking about, I've learned about this man's personality now. He doesn't give a damn about people. This is what I'm hearing. Take from that what you want. So I get a little bit off base, but let's get back to this digital influence campaign. So you might have seen this one yesterday. This was the big one from yesterday. And they all took this screenshot. You probably saw this dozens of times if you're on X. And they all took this screenshot here. This was the digital influence campaign from yesterday. Latest Trump digital influence campaign just dropped. While all this is good, you understand this is just basic law enforcement, right? MAGA was supposed to radically and tremendously change the direction of this country and the politics of Washington, D.C. This is just reducing you to mediocrity. So here's what the big MAGA celebration is with the digital influence campaign yesterday. Trump confirms ICE proceedings against Ilhan Omar over alleged fraud. How long have we been playing this tiddlywinks game? How long have we been playing the cat and mouse game with Ilhan Omar and her fake brother husband? You guys still get high off this? I mean, are you kidding me? You guys still get high off of the Ilhan Omar cat and mouse game? Let me know when she's deported. Let me know when she's arrested. This is getting ridiculous, guys. It's getting really pathetic. Supreme Court allows Trump's mail-in ballot restrictions to take effect. Hey, good news. Mail-in ballots are corrupt. They should be totally illegal. And then you go look into it. Mail-in ballot restrictions. Guys, it's nothing. The mail-in ballots are still going out everywhere. There's mail-in ballots that will still determine elections. This is like a nothing. This is just like adding layers of protection to stop the fraud. The mail-in ballots aren't going anywhere. Trump administration to revoke the visas of 200 asylum seekers. Here's another one. Even this one is not even accurate. Guys, these are people that have filed for asylum. These are 200 people who have filed or applied to seek asylum. They're not even here. We're not talking about 200,000 people that got in under Biden. We're not talking about 200,000 people that invaded this country under Biden that are filing for asylum and that are here. These are people that are not even here. These are just backlogs of asylum. So this is really another nothing burger. This has nothing to do with mass deportations. This has nothing to do with getting rid of all the asylum seekers from the Biden years. This is just a backlog. All they did was go into the system and hit delete on a backlog. This has nothing to do with the Biden administration. This has nothing to do with the asylum seekers that came in. This is just them going into a computer of a backlog system and hitting delete. Hey, I'm glad. Don't get me wrong. This is what I voted for. This is the policy that I voted for. But let's stop pretending like this is some promise delivered here. You dig into the details of these stories, you find out there's barely anything there. Ninth Circuit Court says district courts can't block ICE operations over past harms. Congratulations, police get to do their job. ICE arrests 1,328 illegals in Virginia and Maryland in 14 days. Wow, a whole 1,000. Look at that, guys. They arrested 1,000 illegal aliens. All right. What are we on pace for now? 10,000 deportations? I mean, guys, And this is yesterday's digital influence. This is what they have. They're not bragging about deep state arrests. They're not bragging about mass deportations. They're not bragging about no new wars. They're not bragging about gas under $2 a gallon. They're not bragging about the economy. This is all fluff. What are you guys doing? If it's all for money, I'm not even mad at you. All right? People can see through that. If it's all for money, fine. I don't care. Make your money. But if you're gonna present yourself as independent media, if you're gonna present yourself as someone that's loyal to a cause or to the truth, why are you doing this? Why are you pretending? Who are you trying to fool? So then the whole data Republican thing. MAGA influencer outed as Pentagon employee in bizarre turn after botching scoop State Department spokesperson gave her. This story is, I don't even want to spend much time because this story is just like one hair on the bear's back. So this Janica Pounds is getting a hard time with it because she ran this data Republican account. She got involved in some more personality conflicts, you know, attacking Fuentes, attacking Candace Owens. And then you can see that whether she knew it or not, she ends up being part of this digital influence campaign. Here's an example. And it's her responding to something Candace Owens says here. And then everybody in the digital influence campaign, read every word, read every word, read every word. Read every word. So it's just, this is how the digital influence campaigns work, okay? This is exactly how they work. Now, obviously, the question people are asking is, was the Pentagon behind that? Did Data Republican act on her own, unwittingly, as part of this digital influence campaign, or was it all coordinated out of the Pentagon and she was aware of it all? I don't know. I'm kind of indifferent to the whole thing, to be quite frank with you, because I've been knowing this has been going on for years. I've been telling my audience this has been going on for years. It's been obvious the Trump administration is feeding exclusives to their friends and their acolytes and agents on social media. It's very obvious. And so this is the one that kind of ends up being the loose thread because I guess she got soured by a situation that went bad and then goes public about the whole thing. But now the questions are, what, if anything, was your original content or your original thought, or was it all just Pentagon propaganda? Was it all just the Pentagon feeding you stuff? But you have to understand, too, Data Republican is not the only one. I guarantee you, for the one Data Republican, there's probably dozens of other accounts that are running similar operations out of the Trump administration, out of the Pentagon, maybe out of foreign countries. But this is like, to the people that are paying attention now, it's like the Rosetta Stone. Because now there's no doubt. If there's one, there's two. If there's two, there's four. If there's four, there's probably 10. And if there's 10, guess what? You're running a propaganda operation, buddy. And so now we know. Does she attack Nick Fuentes on her own accord or for the Pentagon? Does she attack Candace Owens on her own accord or for the Pentagon? These are fair questions. And pretty important answers, by the way. Wouldn't it be curious? Wouldn't you like to know whether you like Candace Owens or not, whether you like Nick Fuentes or not? Wouldn't that be curious if the Pentagon was running ops against people in the press? Wouldn't that be interesting? Wouldn't that be a story? I'd say so. You know, I could get a little deeper into this. I'm not going to today. I'm going to move on for now. But if you recall, when the Trump administration got in there, there was kind of this filtration process, and they wanted to kind of reinvent their media strategy, And they want to kind of they wanted to reinvent how the Pentagon was handling the press, but it became an issue of they wanted loyalty, they wanted some control, some access. So a lot of people left, a lot of people came in. I may go more into that at a later date. But it's just like, okay, so I get back to logical consistency here. MAGA loves pointing out, I don't know if they do anymore, actually. Maybe it's almost dead to even say this, quite frankly. It's almost dead to even talk about MAGA like that anymore. Because now it's just a cult of people that are, it's a dwindling number. And I don't even think they're informed enough to know about what Obama was doing as far as psychological operations are concerned. But oh, if Obama was running a psyop, if Obama or Biden were running social media accounts through the Pentagon and giving them exclusives to pretend like it was independently sourced, independently researched, this would be an outrage in right-wing circles. This would be an outrage in MAGA. But because Trump is doing it, they don't say anything. It's okay. So it really just shows what frauds they are. Now, today, I mean, I can't even, how low will MAGA go? They've attacked active duty soldiers and their families. Now they're attacking farmers. By the way, this was a response. Trump again talking about bringing in all this beef. Good ranchers. We understand why beef prices are a problem right now. Ground beef is averaging $6.89 a pound, up 57% since 2021. And that's real pressure on American families. But flooding the market with 300,000 metric tons of imported ground beef with no tariff for 90 days is not the solution for American ranchers. It's a short-term price fix that puts more downward pressure on the cattle producers who are already struggling to stay viable. Trump has not said which countries the beef is coming from or who committed to the 25% price reduction he's promising. American cattle ranchers have been dealing with years of drought, high feed costs, and a shrinking herd. The answer to that is not more cheap imported beef with lower standards competing against them on shelves with no country of origin label required to tell you the difference. We will continue to source 100% American. That is not changing. Well, I think the best way to describe this, there's some other conspiracy theories out there, you know, insider trading stuff, not like stock market, but I mean, hey, these are our friends that own this, you know, they basically run the beef industry in Argentina. We want to make sure they're taken care of here. I'm not going to go down that road. I don't even think it's that deep. I think this is Trump realizing that the economy is a disaster before the midterms. I think this is the Trump administration realizing that the record high beef prices don't really vibe with the golden age rhetoric. And so this is essentially the same thing that Joe Biden did when he drained the strategic petroleum reserves before an election to bring down the cost of gas, hoping that would help get a result that they wanted. So that's what Trump is doing. Now, of course, I shouldn't have to explain this, but what you're essentially saying is you're looking for a short-term fix, but you know it's going to cause long-term pain. So it's the opposite of what they say. This isn't short-term pain for long-term gain. This is short-term gain for long-term pain. And eventually, when you operate that way long enough, the entire thing collapses. Basically, when that's how you operate, eventually nothing, the whole infrastructure collapses. And that's essentially what Trump is doing right now. It's just, let's just patch everything up to try to maintain this image like I'm doing a good job. MAGA's still real. America first. It's like, let's just put a bunch of makeup on this pig and convince everybody it's great. And eventually the whole thing's just going to completely collapse. Eventually the whole thing is just going to completely fall apart. And to me, this is just more evidence of that. Well, there was a Trump rally. You know what? I'm not even going to do it. I was going to play this video of a Trump supporter, but I can't. I just can't do it. I think we all know. I think we've said enough. That's good. That's good. So Chip Roy, this is a crash out from Chip Roy. Look at this one. The real issue on data centers, transmission lines, flock cameras, FISA, beef imports, Islam, immigration, safety regulations, healthcare, and pretty much everything. Americans want to stop being told what to do by government and corporate asshats who say, just trust us. They don't, and they shouldn't. They can't afford healthcare. They can't afford a house. They can't live in a safe and secure community of trust and shared values. Will they see yet another strip mall or concrete box data center funded by private equity bros? He goes on and on. You get it. He basically nails it here. And, you know, I've stood up for Chip Roy when he gets attacked in the past. I've met Chip Roy at a couple of events here. Seems like a good guy to me. Doesn't mean I agree with all of his policies and the things he said and done, but, you know, he seems like a real guy. He seems like a legit guy. I think he represents himself. But he pretty much nails it with this thing. And it's funny because it's the same people that attacked Thomas Massey that attacked Chip Roy. And I think maybe for him, that's kind of what's loosened him up a little bit here. But he's right. Americans are sick and tired of being told what to do by government and corporate asshats. But now it's expanded. Now it's MAGA telling you that you need data centers. It's MAGA telling you that you need new war. It's MAGA telling you you need to pay more for gas. It's MAGA telling you we need to bring in foreign beef. Now it's MAGA asshats. MAGA are now the corporate and government asshats. Or they're just the pathetic delivery boys, I guess. They're just the pathetic little stooges that they send out to deliver their messages, you know, like messenger pigeons. Meanwhile, Hakeem Jeffries and Jared Kushner meet in New York City to discuss how Democrats and Trump could cooperate. Please. The meeting comes with just months to go before midterm elections that will determine control of Congress for the rest of President Donald Trump's term. Of course, you guys know what's happening here, right? You guys know damn well what's happening here. Hakeem Jeffries is one of the biggest recipients of AIPAC money. Obviously, at this point, the Trump administration is accepting that it's highly likely the Democrats are going to win the House, which means Hakeem Jeffries could end up being the Speaker of the House, which means Jared Kushner, representing Israel, needs to make sure that Hakeem is in line. That's what's going on. Now, why is Kushner engaged in such national diplomacy like this anyway? Why is Kushner having meetings with Hakeem Jeffries? That alone should raise eyebrows. But we all know why. This is all about Israel. It's all about foreign policy. And so Kushner wants to make sure that Hakeem Jeffries, as Speaker of the House, is going to be acting in Israel's best interest. Now, the only wheeling and dealing that might be going on here is, hey, can you not impeach Donald? What do we need to give you? What can we give you so that you don't impeach Donald? What can we do for you? Obviously, Israel wins no matter what. And this is the great irony of the entire development right here. The same people that MAGA bitch and complain about, like Hakeem Jeffries, James Tallarico, on and on and on, the same people that MAGA complains about all day long, they're funded by the same donors as Trump. They're all funded by the same donors. You guys are such clowns, man. You're such clowns. So yeah, AIPAC Shakur, Hakeem Jeffries, is cutting deals with Jared Kushner to protect Donald Trump and to protect Israel. And Kushner doesn't even belong here. What is Kushner even doing? But see, the only thing that is real, people are going to ask, well, why would the Democrats impeach Trump at this point? Trump might as well be a Democrat. Trump is no threat to the Democrats. Trump's no threat to their leaders. Trump's no threat to Biden, Obama. They're not scared of Trump. They're not even talking about impeachment. Why would the Democrats want to impeach Trump? Well, either Hakeem Jeffries is going to do some sort of a bait and switch And that's what this meeting is about, to make sure that Hakeem Jeffries plays the right role here, but at the end of the day, protects Israel and protects Trump, anticipating that the noise from the Democrats is going to come in the next session of Congress. So they got to make sure they got all their affairs in order. But the Democrats, guys, they're not going to be able to help themselves. I don't think so. I think that they can try to wrangle this deal, but I don't think it matters. The Democrats are going to impeach. I think of all the efforts that Jared Kushner might try to make and all the deals and wheeling and dealing he might try to do with Hakeem Jeffries, and maybe even Jeffries agrees to some of it, I don't think it matters. I think they impeach him anyway. They're like a dog with a tennis ball. You throw it, they run after it. That's it. End story. And then there's the great irony of it all. And you'll have MAGA sitting here bitching and complaining. They're all run by the same people. Oh my gosh, the Democrats, Hakeem Jeffries are going to impeach Trump. Oh, golly gee, who funds their campaigns? Oh, that's right, the same people that fund the Republicans' campaigns. So I think there's a bit of a delusion here. There's a bit of a delusion from MAGA. Maybe there's a bit of delusion on behalf of the Trump administration that they think they can wheel and deal this impeachment off the table. I don't think so, guys. I don't think so. And then you have John Fetterman. When is this guy going to be? He's going to be a Republican. I tell you what, by 2028, Fetterman will be a Republican. Apparently, there's new polls, and Fetterman is now minus 42 points with Democrats and plus 52 points with Republicans. So is Fetterman a Republican now? Is Fetterman, and of course, why? Because he's pro-Israel. That's all. That's all it takes. So the Republican Party fights for Israel, and the Democrat Party fights for illegal aliens. And then the American people get screwed. They get double teamed. They get, they get taken care of like that. So Fetterman now, since he's pro-Israel, is a Republican. He will be a Republican by the time he's back up for re-election. I have a pretty strong intuition about that. All right, and then there was El Said. Now, this overall, I think it was pretty interesting last night with El Said and Waters. And I said, I don't know how El Said comes out of this thing bad. Well, he found a way. I'll give him credit. I thought there was no way El Said could go into this interview and have a bad moment. And he found a way to do it. I got to give him credit. I thought, no way he can blow this. He's got to come out smelling like roses. And he finds a way to completely botch it up. You may have seen it. Here's the clip where it's just like, what are you doing, bro?
I am.
So you think it's okay for a parent to slash his kid's thing off? You think that's okay?
I mean, do you really want to have this conversation? Are you circumcised?
Yeah, but I mean, that's a
Jesse,
personal question.
Okay,
doctor.
So you probably should want to move on.
And circumcision's different than castration.
I think it's a problem. It's a problem that you think that you get to decide what happens between. I am.
Now, outside of that moment, I think El Said probably comes out of that interview pretty good. That's a right-wing audience in Michigan that he's making a pitch to. Outside of that, he probably looks pretty good. Oh, my God. Oh. That's crazy. That's actually crazy. Now, I'll be perfectly honest. I think there's a fair debate there, actually. I think that the point that El Said makes has a fair debate to be had. Now, am I comparing that to trans surgery or genital mutilation? No, it's obviously different. But I do think there's El Said kind of gets a little hook there. He kind of gets a little hook in the foreskin there. It is, I don't want to have a whole debate about circumcision here, but I will tell you, I think a lot of people are rethinking it. And I think I don't know how much longer it lasts, quite frankly. I think a lot more people are starting to look at that as a very grotesque and evil thing, child torture even, you could make the case. So I don't want to really have that debate, but certainly that wasn't the time to bring it up. Certainly you don't say that on a midterm campaign cycle. That's just, what are you thinking, man? That's not good politics. That's not good political IQ. Other than that, I think everything went well. I think he probably helped himself in that interview with Michigan right-wingers. But that is just, what are you doing, man? What are you doing? I don't want to get into that, realm of debate, because I do think it's an interesting conversation, actually. But, boy, talk about bad timing. Well, there you go. There you go, guys. That's crazy. China threatens Trump with retaliation over Iran sanctions. Boy, I'll tell you what. We've kind of got the Trump stack coming up here. And I don't want to start into it now because we're going to take our break at the end of the hour, and we got a guest coming up. I do think it's kind of being downplayed, not by everybody. Some people obviously get it. It's like nobody in the network news gets this. The whole problem you have with Iran right now is China. I mean, that's your biggest issue. And even if you thought you could negotiate with China, or even if you thought you could get China to kind of back down on this, the problem is you have no leverage. And that's what we're running into here. And this is why if you look at how Trump has laid all of this out, you just see how he just screwed it all up. And maybe, he took a long shot. The tariffs failed. He took a long shot. He believed the intelligence from Israel that they could do a color revolution in Iran. It failed. And on and on and on. He believed the intelligence from Israel that they could wipe out the regime and this war would be over in a couple weeks. It's failed. He ignored his own intelligence. He went back to Israel for more intelligence as far as the strait and the shipping lanes. He was told they could take over the straits. He was told they could take over the shipping lanes. No casualties, no problems. That was a lie. That's failed. So if you were trying to hemorrhage Iran, if you were trying to choke Iran out, then you have to deal with China. You have to put China in a position where they don't have leverage over you. But because the tariffs failed and everything else failed, China has all the leverage. And if China really wanted to hurt our economy, they could do that. And I don't think Trump wants to play that game. So he's basically just stuck in this spin cycle. He's basically just stuck on this hamster wheel, and there's no way out. Now, keep in mind, China, Xi Jinping is coming to the White House. I think that's next month. In fact, what is the exact date of that? Yeah, that is next month. That is a month from today. Xi Jinping will be arriving in Washington, D.C. for a summit with President Trump on September 24th. So that's kind of the big one. Now, I will say assuming Xi Jinping shows up, that'll be Trump's probably last shot to fix this deal before the midterms. That'll be Trump's last shot to try to rebuild this entire foreign policy and trade policy and maybe give it another breath of life. Maybe give it another shot. That's probably the last chance he's going to get. And if it doesn't go that well, or if Xi Jinping cancels the trip, cooked. And everything Trump will try to do from now until then will just be patch jobs, repair jobs, rubber bands, bubble gum, paper clips, and eventually just, it's going to collapse. But that's the problem. Trump could not get us independent quick enough. Trump could not get us manufacturing quick enough. The tariffs have failed. All the stuff that needed to happen first before this didn't happen, and now there's no leverage. And now we're trapped in this hamster wheel in the Middle East, in the Strait of Hormuz, with no answers, no real plan. and the pressure builds for boots on the ground and or some form of, let's just say, a nuclear strike, which, of course, would be too revealing. It would just show that they lied. Everything they said about Iran was a lie if they used a nuclear weapon. So I don't know if they want to go there, but maybe at this point they figure they've got enough people totally enslaved and brainwashed that it doesn't matter. And they could nuke somebody and just say, well, that's just what we're going to do. And yeah, we said anybody that would use a nuke can't have one, but we're going to do it anyway. And just totally expose themselves as the demons that they are. But that's what you got. So now Trump is probably in some form of a holding pattern on his own until that meeting with China. So that's basically what you got now. So Trump's going to sit here and replay the hits. We control the strait. It's open. It's closed. We've won the war. You know, all the, we got rid of the mines. Trump is going to sit here and play the hits for the next month until Xi Jinping gets to town and he can try to salvage his entire foreign policy and trade policy. So we're going to be stuck in this Groundhog Day hamster wheel for another month until Trump gets his final shot to save this entire deal when he meets with Xi Jinping in a month.
You're listening to the Owen Report on the Win Network.
You have found your political compass, the Owen Report with Owen Schroyer.
All right, I kind of got a bit of ahead of myself with that last segment, getting into the China angle and the guest coming up at 5. But let's get into the foreign policy. Let's get into these issues right now. I think we've kind of covered the deal with China, so I think we can kind of just move past that. China threatens Trump with retaliation over Iran sanctions. Beijing will take all necessary measures to protect its interests as U.S. aims to cut Tehran off from allies. Well, as long as they have China, that kind of nullifies the whole deal. And now this is where it's just like, what in the hell? This is when you wonder if Trump hasn't completely lost his mind. He's praising North Korea again. Now, North Korea is obviously like that's connected to China. North Korea is like China's, anus. And now he's out here, he's fluffing Kim Jong-un again, and he's attacking South Korea again. How does that make any sense? I can't make any sense of it. And he's claiming it's all about this Iran war. Oh, because South Korea won't join in the Iran war. So I guess, which again, it just shows you Trump's lying about everything, and he's not winning the war. If Trump was winning the war, or the war was over, or he had full control, why would he be asking South Korea to join? So Trump just proves himself to be a liar. And then it just makes no sense as far as if you're about to have this stalemate in the negotiations with China, why would you be fluffing up China's anus, North Korea? We need to stop communism. But by the way, I like North Korea now. Like, what even is this? Somebody explain that one. Yeah. Their latest Trump update. Fresh with the clown horn. And the hits, guys, the hits keep coming. Yada, yada, yada. They own the straits. They own the mountains. They've destroyed the nuclear sites. Yada, yada. Playing the hits, playing the hits, playing the hits. How is it that it's 2026? Guys, smack me over the head. Somebody hit me with an ugly stick. Smack me over the head. How is Hillary Clinton making more sense on foreign policy than Donald Trump? Can somebody explain this to me?
But there is there should be no doubt in anyone's mind how seriously Netanyahu has damaged, first and foremost, Israel. And second, the perception that people, not just in the United States, but around the world, have of Israel. And that has to be repaired. But there is no...
Clinton 2028? Hillary? Hill Dog? Hill Dog making the comeback? Hill Dog pushing for one more? Clinton 2028? Let's take one last run at it? How is Hillary Clinton making more sense on foreign policy than Donald Trump in 2026? Clinton 2028? Now, guys, if you want to play a game, you clip that out. You say, look, Owen Schroyer supports Hillary Clinton in 2028, and you just watch all the MAGA people take the bait. Oh, I volunteer as tribute. Watch them all trade. Schroyer's going to vote for Clinton. Oh, my God, he's trooned out. Look, he's a liberal. He's a Democrat. We told you. Ho, 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 yes, we got Schroyer. Oh, my gosh. Go ahead. If you want to play that game, set me up. Set me up. Send me out as bait. Send me out like chum in the water. Because don't worry, guys. We will have the final say. And we'll just remind all the magatards that it's Donald Trump that didn't lock Hillary Clinton up. We'll remind all the magatards that it's Donald Trump that said he likes the Clintons now. He likes Bill Clinton now. And he wants to protect Hillary Clinton now. Oh, yeah. Have at it, boys. Have at it, guys. Schroyer said he's voting for Clinton. Okay. Your guy, Donald Trump, is protecting Clinton. So I think, I think you look like the ass there, not me. But if you guys want to play that game, that'd be fun. That would be pretty funny. What is John Ratcliffe doing in Russia? This is interesting. CIA Director John Ratcliffe makes surprise trip to Moscow. Agency declines to comment on Ratcliffe's first publicly known trip to the Russian capital. He got in on a C-130, and then a fleet of vehicles were taking him around town. You know, I do feel bad for Barron Trump. He is worth apparently $150 million. Well, I guess good for him. But, he's getting death threats now. And this is, it's all obviously because of what his dad is doing. Secret Service says it is aware of Iranian state media video threatening Barron Trump. The footage reportedly released by media linked to Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps claimed a $10 million bounty had been placed on the president's youngest son. Now, I don't know. I don't know if I even believe this. I wouldn't be surprised if this is just pure war propaganda. But I'll take it at face value. I'll take it at face value, and I'll just simply say, well, what do you expect? It's this weird, I don't understand this weird ideology here. We've been bombing Iran for over a year. I don't know what the number of deaths in Iran is because of these bombing sprees. We've bombed and we've killed their leadership. We've bombed a school. We've killed children. We've killed Iranian schoolgirls. And so what? So Iran is not supposed to say anything? So Iran's supposed to say, thank you, America. Can I have another? So obviously, I'm not going to, it's like, yeah, I don't want to see Iran threatening Americans. I don't want to see Iran threatening Barron Trump. I don't think he deserves that. But at the same time, it's like, don't we have to be realistic? If I walk up to Mike Tyson and I punch him in the mouth and he turns around and punches me in the mouth, say, oh, Mike, why did you do that, Mike? Ah. It's like, that doesn't make sense. You're going to say, you punched me first. What do you mean you punched me? You can't punch me in the mouth and punch you back. Say, damn it, Mike, you got a point. You're right. I did punch you first. I guess I deserve that. So it's like, what? Trump can just threaten to nuke Iran? Trump can threaten to destroy Iran's civilization, kill a bunch of schoolgirls, and then they just can't say anything? They're supposed to say thank you? What is this? What is this ridiculous ideology? What is this ridiculous approach? Hey, I don't have to support Iran's propaganda. I don't have to tell you, hey, look, this is cool what Iran is doing. No, it's gross. I don't think Barron Trump deserves this. But we started a war with them. Don't you love it too? There's no consistency. There's no consistency here. It's like, oh, Israel gets the green light to do whatever it wants because, somebody started a war. Israel is just defending itself, but God forbid Iran. Oh, no. No. That logic doesn't get applied equally, does it? Oh, boy. What else do we have here? The warnings that came before a war now reaching the 6-month mark. After military and diplomatic efforts, President Trump pins his hopes on economic warfare. Yeah, the whole thing has failed. It's a total failure. It's a total disaster. And all the warnings he got from his true allies in the media, all the warnings he got from American intelligence, he ignored them, and now it's an absolute disaster. And you have to wonder how much this is coming into play here. Hegseth's purge of top generals leaves the army rudderless. The leadership vacuum comes as the army is trying to adapt to a new kind of war dominated by deadly drones. Now, I'm not really an anti-Hegseth guy. I think Hegseth seems kind of relatable. I think his PR for the military is probably good. As far as being the brains of the operation, I'm not so sure that sounds like a good idea. And it seems like that's the situation that we now have. But do you know what's happening, guys? Do you know this purge that's happening? I don't even think it's fair to blame this on Hegseth. This is not a Hegseth purge. Hegseth is doing his job. He's doing what the boss is telling him to do, whether that boss is Netanyahu or Trump or Adelson or Wiles. Take your guess. They're purging the military of anyone that won't support Trump. They're purging the military of anybody that won't put Israel's interests first. That's what's happening here. They're getting rid of any general that is stepping up and saying, hey, this is not going to go well. They're getting rid of anybody inside the Pentagon, anybody inside the State Department, any military general that might dare step up and say, hey, this might not be a good idea, and here's why. You're fired. You're out. Boy, that's bad, isn't it? That's a pretty bad approach to policy. As if Trump has any idea how to handle warfare. And of course he doesn't. That's why it's all being run out of Israel. Well, I guess this is some good news. Speaking of Israel, one of their finest assets ever is going to stay in jail. Judge rejects Ghislaine Maxwell's bid to toss conviction and warns against further appeals. U.S. District Judge Paul Engelmayer said Maxwell's claims were meritless and any further appeal would not be taken in good faith. Do you guys think Trump would pardon Maxwell? Do you think he would do that? Would you bet on that? I wouldn't be surprised. I'd say it's it's close to a 50-50 shot. Obviously, he wouldn't do it until right before he leaves office. But hey, Epstein is a hoax. Epstein was a nice guy. He was a cool cat. Maxwell is a victim here. Trump might pardon her. Wouldn't surprise me. We need a Trump stock tracker. You know how we have the Pelosi stock tracker? We need a Trump stock tracker now. There's a couple of these today. I picked one of them. There's like 3 or 4 of them today. There's a SpaceX one. Trump bought a bunch of SpaceX and then cut a deal with SpaceX for like $500 billion or something, or $500 million. On June 4th, President Trump bought up to $500K in Everforth. 54 days later, the Army awarded Everforth Defense Unit a $115 million contract. It's up 56% since. He didn't disclose the trade until 79 days later. The White House says there are no conflicts of interest. Guys, I know I've explained this before. Sorry for a redundancy factor for those that have heard this before. The Trump insider trading operation inside the White House was so obvious that all you had to do was pay attention to what the White House was doing, who was coming in, who was cutting out, what deals were being cut, and you could have never traded a stock in your life. And if you were able to monitor the White House, you're getting 50%. You'll get a 50% boost. Maybe I know from experience. And that's why they cut that access off and put it behind a $100,000 paywall. Because they knew all you peasants had to do, you dirty, rotten peasants out there, getting this stuff for free. How dare you get stuff for free off of Donald Trump? He needs to fleece you for more money. And they said, we got to put this information behind a paywall. Now, the irony is, their whole psychology, this is the big disconnect. When they talk about the golden age and they insult working Americans and they insult middle-class Americans, they really do look at it like this. They say, well, why don't you just put money in the stock market? They don't get it. That's how these people think. That's how Trump thinks. He's like, hey, what do you mean you're struggling? Just put money in the stock market. They think you have money to put in the stock market. This is what they don't understand. People don't have any money. They're living in the margins. They're living paycheck to paycheck. By the time they get their paycheck, the majority of that money is already allocated to different bills and debt and everything else. They just think everybody's just got all this money. Oh, just put it into the stock market. Money just grows. It just grows. You just get rich. What are you doing? That's how they think. They're so disconnected. They are almost completely out of touch now with the average American. And the outlets that Trump or the administration had to the average American, like Charlie Kirk, like other people that were in there that are now out. Now, basically, all you really have is Vance, and you see what they're trying to do to J.D. Vance. You see how they're trying to cut J.D. Vance out and destroy J.D. Vance's character and try to keep him from Trump now. You see that happening now. Vance is probably the only connection Trump has to any sort of reality when it comes to the average American. They're up there, Bessent, Lutnick, Trump, the rest of them, Rollins, Burgum. They're up there and they're just like, well, why are Americans struggling? Why don't they just put money in the stock market? Just put money in the stock market. Just magically make money in the stock market. Guys, maybe an American can put like $100 or $200 a month in the stock market. That ain't changing anything. That ain't paying any bills. These people have millions of dollars to put in the stock market. If they get 5% on a stock in a day, they make a couple $1,000. They think anybody can do it. They think, oh, you can do that. Anybody can do that. Americans don't have the money. They work and they live paycheck to paycheck. And the Trump administration, it's just like, whoosh, they just can't even comprehend it. They can't even believe it. They just think, why don't you buy stock? Good Lord. Well, why don't you give us the insider trading information for free then, instead of $100,000 a month for you and your friends? I expect to see a lot more of this story, or types of stories. Houston police investigation into attempted child kidnapping at park hindered by vandal who cut down flock cameras. Unfortunately, some person that's not really cool with the license plate reader technology chose to cut 3 down. So I anticipate more of this moving forward to sell you on this technology. Now, let me put my own opinion on this aside. Obviously, I'm not a fan of the surveillance state. And I don't take this at face value like they say, oh, it's just license plate readers. Bull crap. This is why they're building the data centers. This is why they're trying to get quantum computing. This is why they're putting the cameras everywhere. It's all about building the AI surveillance state. Total surveillance 24/7, as many inches covered of this country as they possibly can. That's what this is. I'm against that. As an American, as a freedom-loving human being, as somebody that knows where the AI surveillance state takes us, I am totally against it. But I'll remove my own bias from the conversation, and I'll look at this objectively. And I'll say, you know, there's a case that can be made, and this is how they're going to make the case. So here it is. We had a child kidnapping, or an attempted child kidnapping, and we had a lead, but we couldn't follow through because somebody chopped down the camera that we had at the park. That's a case. That's a case that they make to support flock cameras. Not a bad case. So I look at this and I say, well, what does this really represent? And I've been saying this since day one. Anybody that listens to my show knows I've been saying since day one, the real surveillance state is right here. This is the real surveillance state, right here in your pocket. It's called a smartphone. Now, I don't want to get elementary and explain the difference between me choosing to carry around a smartphone or use a smartphone versus me wanting to go to a park or somewhere and having myself recorded the entire time because of the flock cameras everywhere. Obviously, there's a difference. But the real surveillance state, you voluntarily put in your pocket every day. So, okay, let's just balance things out. To me, you know what this really represents, guys? It just represents how frustrated Americans are. And the political outlets for us to voice our frustration seem to be non-existent. So you have no avenue, you have no outlet. The government is criminal, the government is corrupt, the government is crushing us. It's like screaming into a void. You go out, you vote for Trump, he screws you. He bends you over, doesn't even lube you up, just goes to town on you. I mean, just banging you, you know, just telling you how great it is. So people are just like, I have no outlet. I'm getting raped. I'm getting raped by my government. I have no avenue. I have no vehicle. I have no outlet. Many people thought Trump was going to be that guy. He ended up turning us around, bending us over, and having his way. And so to me, that's what this represents. This is just like, this is the Boston Tea Party. This is, Americans are sick and tired. They're pissed. They're frustrated. And flock cameras represent something that they detest. These spy cameras, this AI surveillance state, it represents something they detest. It's the deep state. It's the establishment. It's the politicians that are fucking us every day. It's the vision of the future that we're all trying to reject, that we're all trying to avoid. So these cameras just end up being the vehicle. They just end up being the outlet. To me, that's what really is represented here. Yeah, most people realize that all things considered, the flock cameras serve their role in the surveillance state, but obviously the cell phone is way more penetrating, and we voluntarily carry that around every day. but I don't want to destroy my cell phone. This was expensive. I need this. But I'm pissed at my government. I'm pissed at my politicians. I'm pissed at the establishment. I'm pissed at the deep state. And I know they're trying to put me in an AI surveillance state prison, and they're putting all these cameras up everywhere. This is my opportunity to say, fuck you. This is my opportunity to tell the government, piss off. This is my opportunity to tell the deep state that is trying to put me into an AI surveillance state that I reject it. I reject you. That's what this represents to me. But of course, like most other things, the government's going to force us into it, and essentially we'll have no choice. And now they're rigging the numbers, just like the liberals used to do at the EPA. Trump EPA aims to exempt data centers from disclosing air pollution, advocates warn. The Trump administration proposes new rule to dismantle requirement for data centers to publicly report air pollution. Now, guys, I'm going to tell you something right here. Get ready for this. Eventually, we'll be playing the Ruth clip. They've already done it. If you recall, companies have been caught cooking the books, car companies, caught cooking the books when it comes to the emissions. They've been caught. We know that leftist liberals, progressives, they've been caught cooking the books as far as weather, temperature, climate. They like to cook the books. They try to get the most extreme outcomes to make a case. The Trump administration is now doing this, but they're going to take this a step further. Not only are they going to exempt the data centers from disclosing their pollution numbers, the pollution data, they're going to allow cooked numbers to be presented to the public. And they're going to say, oh, looky here. The data centers don't pollute, or actually the data centers, they're barely even tapping into your energy grid. They're barely even using any water. This is all fine. It's all fake news. No problem. Go ahead. Proceed with the data centers. All your concerns are no more. Get ready. That's what they're going to do. And you have to ask, the obvious question is, why are they so desperate to build these things? Why? We're competing with China, Owen. Really? You believe that? You're so stupid if you believe that. You are so stupid if you believe that. I got a filet mignon. My neighbor's dog just cooked a filet mignon in his front yard I got for you. That's how stupid you are if you believe that. Oh, we need to compete with China. Why don't we have nuclear energy? Oh, we need to compete with China. Why can't our high school graduates read at a grade level? Compete with China. Shut up. Such a lie. Make me sick how pathetic these people are lying to you about that. We already have more data centers than China. We already have more AI than China. It's a total lie. So why are they building it? What is this desperate attempt with the data centers? That is really a question of our time. Is it purely the AI surveillance state spying on us 24/7? Okay, why? It's for our safety. Oh, tell me you're not that stupid. It's for our safety? You mean like the safe and effective vaccines? It's for our safety. You mean like the wide open borders? It's for our safety. These people don't give a damn about your safety. Stop. About your safety. Yeah, right. They start wars. They don't give a crap about your safety. It's for your safety. Oh, please. So what is it really for? It's probably for their safety. My guess is Trump is about to do something so devilish, so dastardly to this country that there are going to be revolts in the street, and so they need an AI surveillance center this time around. Maybe you're part of those deep conspiracy theorists, and you think they're feeding something underground. You think the data centers are just some sort of a distraction, and they actually serve a completely different purpose. I don't know, but it's obvious they are desperate to build this AI surveillance state. Why? They're lying to you about the why. They're lying to you about China. They're lying to you about for your safety. So what is the real reason? Why are they so desperate to build these data centers? We don't want them. Is it pure money? Is it just they all want to make this money? Is it just they're obsessed with spying on us all the time? Are all of our leaders paranoid schizophrenics? So they have to spy on us all the time in case we might get a little uppity and decide we're going to toss them? Maybe get in the streets? What is the truth about these data centers? Because you know we're being lied to. Well, Trump is crashing out today. Trump administration says it might demolish the Kennedy Center if courts block renovations. This guy's such a joke. The DOJ attorneys called the Kennedy Center structurally unsound, fundamentally unsafe, and embarrassing to the nation's capital. And yet they have events in there all the time. Trump goes in there and have events, so they don't even mean that. So they just lie about everything. It literally is because they won't put the name on the building. So because they won't put Trump's name on the building, he says he's going to destroy the building. Do you understand how pathetic this is getting, guys? Do you understand that Trump's ego has completely conquered his mind? There might not be anything left of Donald Trump. It might just be pure ego, pure narcissism at this point. They won't put his name on the building, so he threatens to demolish it. This is where we're at with Trump. It's not the only thing he's threatening. Trump threatens to rename Lake Ontario as spat with Canada escalates. He's gonna rename it Lake America. Ooh. You know, this stuff was cool at the beginning of the administration. It was cool when you did it with the Gulf of America. It was cool then when we still had hope that you weren't going to be a total traitor. It was cool then when we still had hope that you were going to deliver on campaign promises. Now it just looks pathetic. Now it just looks petty. And it's totally worthless, by the way. You know, I'm wondering how bad this is going to get, guys. I have to tell you. If you notice, Trump is becoming increasingly unstable. He's becoming increasingly deranged. And it's becoming such an ego fight now that he's literally going to end us up in a war or in a trade war that's going to crush our economy and bring more Americans back in body bags. And it's pure ego driving him. It's just pure ego. And he's pissed because it's all failed. He knows he's not popular. He knows most of his base has turned on him. He knows that this whole thing is an act. He knows the golden age is a lie. He knows Americans look at him as a total traitor instead of a patriot now. He is well aware of this. And now he's lashing out. He's sputtering. He's threatening to take down the Kennedy Center. He's threatening to nuke Iran. He's threatening to change the name of a lake. This man is deranged. Now, he did address the Department of Education. He said something I liked. No, it's not going to be, well, you'll see. It's always going to have a caveat with me. You know that. First of all, the Department of Education was supposed to be shut down. Trump said he was going to shut down the Department of Education, so that was a lie. But he's addressing the Department of Education. He talks about the agenda, the LGBTQ, the trans agenda, specifically in schools. Here's what he said.
Every public school in America is now on notice that if they tell a child that they're trapped in the wrong body, they are committing child abuse. And as we remove the far-left extremism from the classroom, we're taking historic action to ensure that every child in America has access to a first-class education. Every public school.
Now, none of that's going to happen. Okay? I'm going to tell you right now, none of that is going to happen. Whoever wrote that nice little thing for him right there, probably Stephen Miller, none of it's going to happen. Trump's not saying it. He has no idea what's going on. None of this is on the Trump agenda. This is literally just a written speech that he's just reading. It's completely worthless. Now, I'd like to see that. I'd like to see, since we're not going to shut down the Department of Education, it'd be nice to actually have a first-class education across the country, but I promise you that's not happening. That's not on the agenda, just lip service. And I would love to be wrong about this, but they're not going to arrest anybody. They're not going to arrest any of these teachers that are trying to trans kids. I guarantee you that. More lip service, more nothing. But hey, let's get serious about that. I'd like to get serious about that. Don't we think that if you mutilate a minor's body, a minor, specifically without parental approval, you should probably go to jail, right? We all agree with that. If a minor comes to you and says, I want gender reassignment surgery, mutilate my genitals, chop off my breasts, if a minor goes to a doctor and says that, and the doctor performs that without parental approval, I mean, that should be arrest, a minimum, right? We all would agree with that. We would all agree with that, right? MAGA, you'd agree with that. Come on, you guys don't hate me that much, right? You could at least agree with me on that, right? Is it going to happen? No. Will you say anything when it doesn't? No. You're going to sit there and clap like seals when Trump says something and doesn't mean it, just like you do every single time. I'd love for that to be real. I'd love for this to be serious. Can we stop targeting children? If you want to get this surgery when you're an adult, 18, whatever, I'm not going to make a fuss about it. We can talk about culture. You like it, you don't. Minors, it should be off the table. Shouldn't even be an option. There shouldn't even be a doctor in this country that is willing to do transgender surgery on a minor. And any doctor that is willing to do transgender surgery on a minor is a monster and needs to be locked up. They'll do nothing. They'll do nothing. But they'll all clap like seals. Trump said he's going to do something about the doctors transing kids. He'll do nothing, and they'll say nothing. But really, that's how it should be handled. Is that even considered controversial? I guess to liberals, maybe. But it's just like, here's what's frustrating about it. We actually have an opportunity to end this right now. We have an opportunity as a country to stop this diabolical activity, to stop this once and for all, and to put our foot down and kind of have this eye-opening moment that's like, okay, we screwed up here. This is bad. We screwed up. This is bad. The liberals will come around. I promise you. They're going to have to come around on this, guys. I mean, come on. Trans for kids, this is not sustainable. This is not real. This is absurd. Stupid little game. They're going to get over it. We have a time to put our foot down right now and actually end this. We can actually end this right now and say trans surgery illegal until you're 18. Period. And if you are a doctor and you perform trans surgery on a child, that is a crime. You can't sell alcohol to a minor. You can't sell tobacco to a minor. You can't sell pornography to a minor. You shouldn't be able to sell chopping their genitals off. We have an opportunity to end this right now and put this behind us, and as a country, move on and say, that was some sick stuff we did. And they won't even do it. He won't even do it. In fact, don't you guys remember 3 months ago when Trump put out, trans surgeries are good now? And then they had to delete the post and repost it without that. He said trans surgeries is good with adult approval now. Remember that one? You think he means any of this? So you see, this is my frustration. MAGA stands for nothing. They stand for nothing. They stand for one man, and that is it. If Trump says he's going to do something, they stand and cheer. When he doesn't do it, they don't say anything. That's why so many people are no longer MAGA, because it's fake. It's a bunch of fake patriots, a bunch of frauds, a bunch of cowards that say a bunch of crap and then have no real principles. And at the end of the day, it just turns out to be a cult. This is a crazy one. It stays in the news The day I disclose my career is over, the journalist facing $800 a day fine to keep her sources secret. This is a crazy one. If Catherine Herridge's petition to the U.S. Supreme Court fails, she'll be on the hook for a daily fine until she discloses her sources, a case unsettling press freedom organizations. I think you get the gist of it. There's a court case. She's being held in contempt of court. She had an exclusive story about Chinese American scientists, and she got some exclusive stuff, obviously, from the federal government. I mean, I guess that's the assumption here. And so the court is fining her $800 a day until she provides her sources. And of course, she, as a journalist, she's saying, I'm not going to provide my sources. Now, the last I checked, I think Fox News is covering these fees. Herridge has only been able to pay the fees and litigate the case with the support of her former employer, Fox News, which has continued to cover her top-level legal representation, even though she has not worked for the network in 7 years. She might still do hits with the network. I don't know. I believe she's employed by CBS now. Hey, good for Fox News, actually, for them. Good for them for doing this. Now, Trump has not said anything. He ought to. But I think the reason why the Trump administration is staying silent on this is because they're in the process of trying to find their own rats. They're in the process of trying to find their own leakers. And they know if they come out in support of Herridge keeping this information secret, that will hurt their own case somewhere down the road. So that's kind of how I view that deal. Let's do this, guys. I want to take a break from the news. We have a guest coming up at 5. We got about 20 minutes till the guest comes on. I'd like to take some calls. Let's take a brief break from the news. Let's step away from the news and take some phone calls. How would you guys like that? Would you guys like that? I'll do about 20 minutes of phone calls, bring our guest on, and then I got some other news stories. All right, phone lines are open. Number is 747-255-60, 747-255-60. Anything we've covered today is fair game. Anything we've covered today is fair game. Do you want to talk about space lasers? Do you want to talk about space lasers? You know space lasers are in the news today? How about this one? The meme becomes reality. Israel plans development of space weapons capable of striking targets on Earth. Ha! What? Defense Minister Israel Katz says space capabilities would provide the IDF with an advantage in future conflicts as Israel seeks to become a leading space power. You mean the Palestinians don't have space lasers? What? Palestine doesn't have space lasers? Unbelievable. I'm shocked. Truly stunned that would give Israel the advantage. All right, to the phone lines we go. Remember, guys, I pick up the phone, you're on the air. I just ask your name and where you're from. First caller of the show, what's your name, where you're from?
My name is @CensorshipBot on X. Sorry, I would like to remain anonymous.
All right, Censorship
I'm
Bot.
from Alabama.
All right, Censorship Bot, go ahead.
Man, for one, I want to say thank you for everything that you've done, Owen, as far as opening my eyes to this legitimate clown world. I'm 28 years old. InfoWars basically saved my life in 2024, man. If I did not see what kind of a skit was being ran on our culture, if it wasn't opened up to my eyes, I wouldn't even be able to have this conversation right now. So with that being said, yes, we did fall for what this joke and administration fed us. But what do you think that the youth should be doing right now? In your opinion, if you're a 28-year-old male, what do you do if you're the average Joe? How do you get out of this mess? And, I just want to end by saying thank you, and y'all go follow me on X @CensorshipBot.
All right, do you just want me to answer that? You want me to let you go?
basically, with what's going on in the world. I mean, I'm black pilled now, Owen. Like this whole administration has been a joke.
Well, let me do this. Can I?
Is politics just turned now? Is politics just basically useless?
Well, it's useless if they don't execute. It's useless if they don't follow through. Here, let me just hold you. Let me try to answer this. It's going to be a bit of a complex answer. I'm actually glad you called. This is a perfect way to open up the phone lines today. I have to take a couple different approaches to this question. Let me first just give you my general advice that I would give to anybody. You're on the higher end of your 20s, but you're still in your 20s. Let me just give you the general advice that I give to all 20-year-olds that might ask me something similar. This is my approach. This is my advice. It might not be for everybody. You don't have to take it. But this is what I would say. When you're in your 20s are your time, the 20s are your time to figure it out. Take risks, fail, succeed, strive for what you want, work your ass off, maybe meet a girl. The 20s is the time where it's like you can take chances, you can screw up, you can fail, you can succeed, and it's like you can still kind of fight all through that in your 20s and come out. And then by the time you're 30, smaller window for you, but I would say by the time you're 30, you need to have it figured out. You need to figure out what it is you're good at. You need to figure out what it is you're going to succeed at, what it is you fail at, and what it is you're looking for out of life. And you need to be in, by the time you're 30, you need to have that trajectory. You need to have that path figured out. So the 20s is the time to figure it out, and then the 30s is the time to do it. That's just my general advice. I don't know if that's what you're asking. Now, as far as the politics is concerned, I feel like the youth is already going the right direction. I feel like we can see it in the polls. We can see how the youth are voting, that they see the issues in D.C. There seems to be a lot of common ground, a lot of common issues within the youth as far as the issues we face, the things we want to fix. So I think politically, I think the youth is going the right direction. Now, obviously, the left liberal, progressive propaganda is something you got to deal with, the communists, the LGBTQ. So I don't know. You've got a different window into that than I do, since I'm 10 years older than you. So it's hard for me to know how that's really affecting your generation outside from what we just see in pop culture. I don't know. Is it really that prevalent out there? I mean, maybe considering if you compared it to 20 years ago, I guess, yes. But I'll say this in closing. You say you're black-pilled. Here's the very important thing, and I probably don't stress this enough on my show. And this is a misinterpretation of even myself that I have to deal with at times. Just because you're black-pilled on politics does not mean you have to be black-pilled on life at all. In fact, the fact that you are black-pilled on politics means that you have some sort of connection to life, to the real world. You have some sort of appreciation and vision for the potential that you are black-pilled by politics. To me, it's the people that are not black-pilled by politics that are like dead in life. If you don't have the light in your eyes, if you don't have the soul of God and this divine creation that we're in enough to see that politics is black-pilling, then you're like already dead. You're not even like awake. You're not even aware of anything. So the fact that you're black-pilled on politics should actually be the white pill. That means you're alive, brother. That means you got a soul. That means you got a vision. That means you got a human spirit. That shouldn't black pill your entire life. That should be a positive thing. So I don't talk about that enough. I'm glad you called in. Yes, does this show, they call it doomerism, black pilling. Guys, I love life. I can't get enough of life. And I understand if you just watch me 3 hours a day and we talk politics, you may be it's a misconception of who I am. I love life. I love life. I can't get enough of life. And I would suggest that you do the same. So just because you're black-pilled by politics does not mean you have to be black-pilled by life. Does that answer your question?
It absolutely answers my question. And with that being said, I'm closer to the leftist liberals that we're supposed to be at war against. I'm closer to the soy boy twigs now at work that I have to argue with than I am with the elitists We'll just put it that way. The ones that I know are not on our team.
Are
So,
you? Yeah. Well, I think there's a lot of that going on right now. Let me ask you one thing before I let you go. Are you physically fit? Are you healthy?
dude, I am, and it started with InfoWars.
Good.
You and Alex, y'all totally, dude, changed my life with the information that y'all gave, and this right here, the open line, dude. I've never, no other community ever, I've never seen a connection like this, and dude, it literally opened my eyes up to God, and bro, you've done so much for Team Humanity, and I hope one day you and Alex get the beef out of the way, saying whatever it is. I know you ain't got any beef, but man, yeah, I still pray for that, dude. I want to see y'all reunite.
Right on, man.
But
I appreciate that call. You know, and it's like this, brother. You're not going to find too many depressed, physically fit people. Those two things just don't really coexist. So, you know, max, man. Become the best person you possibly can. It might be the only thing you have control over in this world, quite frankly. And once you realize, he talks about the InfoWars process, the InfoWars awakening, once you realize that there is a war against you, it's like once you realize people are at war with you and your body and your mind and your soul, all of a sudden it kicks into gear and you start building your mind, you start building your soul, you start building your body, because that's the instinctual response mechanism when you figure it all out. Great opening caller. Next caller, what's your name, where you from?
Hey, Owen, Don from Orange County.
What's up, Don?
Hey, what's going on? Hey, about the deportations. When you started looking at it, like,
hey, we got 1,000 deportations in 2 weeks, Don. Ooh.
Here's the thing. Here's what I'm trying to get. Here's how out of touch this administration, and actually how exposed everything has become. They take the one thing like deportation, and then they made a big worldwide report. They shot an air ball by arresting one of the sailors off the USS Abraham Lincoln's dad. I mean,
yeah.
How? I mean, that is the epitome of fucking up. But see, they're not doing it by accident. It's like in our face. I mean, we're being ruled by Zionist pedophiles that want circumcision at birth. As they make a foreskin the issue from you before you even take your first breath, man. They're taken from you. You know, that's who we're being ruled by. It's a spiritual war. These are demonic people, and I've been saying it for a long time, and I always will.
Yeah.
So it's
well, I'll tell you what, and the one thing that you brought up here, and I'll get more specific with it, you see Trump scolding the active duty members that have been at sea like longer than anyone else ever. It's going to be over 250 days before they port. They usually aren't there for more than 200. And he says, oh, they should be out there longer. And then there's the parents of active duty that are going to the press and raising some of these issues, and MAGA's attacking them. Part of you feels bad that these MAGA people are so brainwashed, because, I mean, that's really what it is. I mean, these people are fully brainwashed. They're totally in a cult. And part of you feels bad for it. You're trying to break them out of it. But it's just like they really don't even understand. They can't even grasp how unpopular this whole thing is. And they're like stuck in this. It's like they're stuck in the Trump like TDS world, where they just think any criticism of Trump is just Trump derangement syndrome, or any negative news about Trump is just fake liberal news or whatever. And it's just like, no, guys. That you guys are trapped in a past. You're stuck in the past. You're not with us here. You're not with us. And they're totally out of touch. And they think like they think that it still resonates. They think that it still hits. And it's totally flatlining. And that's what they don't understand. I don't know if they can be helped. I don't know if they're interested in being helped. It's very sad, actually. It's very sad. And I just wonder when they're going to snap out of it. I mean, eventually they're going to snap out of it. I just wonder what that is going to be like. Next caller, what's your name, where you're from?
Hey, what's up, Owen? It's Ivan.
All right, Ivan, what's up?
Hey, Man, it's really getting bad for MAGA. I'll just give an example. My brother, he lives out in Georgia. He is, I would say he's probably 100 times more conservative than you. Like super hardcore, right wing, far right. Like he's totally opposite of me. Like just hardcore. And he told me he was done. He's going to vote for Asa. He's going to just vote blue. Just, more a spite vote. It's mainly a spite vote.
Yeah.
And all his friends, the people around him that are, they're saying the same thing.
No, I anticipate a lot of spite votes. I anticipate many spite votes in this election. I think there's going to be spite. I think there's going to be also people that just sit out. I think they're just going to say, I'm just not showing up.
Yeah, he's just so disappointed, because he, I agree with him with the, the border. I'm glad it's closed. There's a lot of people that should not be here, and I just felt also that the administration just did everything so sloppy. If they would have done it like Obama, quiet, methodical, and just.
Well, the difference with that is, I think we do have to offer some defense in this case, because the Obama administration didn't have to deal with the protests. They didn't have to deal with the courts. They didn't have to deal with the people out in the streets trying to block the operation. So I don't know if that's a fully fair comparison. But as far as, you're talking about, we've had two callers now talk about the similarities between the dissident left and the dissident right. I do anticipate there's going to be this merger. Maybe it's in 2028, and, compromises will be made. But I think you're going to see people on the left, the dissident left even, and they're going to say, hey, okay, you know what? We're okay with secure borders. We're okay with getting rid of all the welfare programs. Maybe they stand against deportations, but I do think there's going to be some sort of a coalescence there that says, all right, you give a little, we give a little. What do we think about immigration here? What can we fix? I anticipate they're probably going to drop the whole trans kid thing. I don't think that has much of a lifespan left. Maybe this big act that's going on right now with these men joining the WNBA, maybe they finally drop that side of it too. And then the right wing is going to come to a realization that the foreign policy's been a disaster. They're going to have to give some ground on that. And so I kind of see these things starting to coalesce ahead of the midterms. But then you also have to understand there's going to be an equal and opposite reaction from the establishment that is benefiting from these things. So this is where it's all going to be headed after the midterms. And right now, the midterms are all about, does America want to give the Trump administration 2 more years? Or do they want to lame duck him and say, this is already enough? We want the Democrats to run Congress to stop this administration. That's what the midterms are going to be all about. And right now, it looks like America is leaning towards, we need to lame duck this administration. We need to lame duck this president. And he has nobody to blame but himself. To me, it's if the Republicans and the administration were successful, they wouldn't be dealing with this. America wouldn't be feeling this way. But yet that's where all of the trends and all of the signs are headed. All right, we're going to take our final break of the transmission. We'll be right back on the other side of this with our guest.
You're listening to the Owen Report on the Win Network.
It's the fastest 3 hours on the internet. It's the Owen Report with Owen Schroyer.
All right, we are into the third and final hour of today's transmission. I want to get into some economic news with our guest from Allegiance Gold, Alex Abkarian, joining me now. And Alex, anybody that's paying attention, especially to the precious metals markets, probably saw the big news earlier this week. Tell me, what is going on with gold futures, and why did I see news about them skyrocketing earlier this week?
So thanks for having me, Owen. Multiple things happening simultaneously. Last week, we had a new record, $40 trillion in debt. And then at the same time, the Treasury Secretary, Scott Bessent, who's supposed to be the best salesman of the U.S. Treasury bonds, is starting to intervene in the bond market 2 ways. Number one, we doubled the amount of buyback that the government did. The government issues bonds, but because there wasn't enough liquidity in the system, they started buying back the debt that they issued. Number two, we were bailing out the Japanese yen. Not that we're so good in helping others, but because we wanted to help ourselves. Japan has the largest amount of national debt when it comes to the amount of U.S. treasuries, over $1 trillion. Their economy wasn't doing well, their currency wasn't doing well, and they needed to sell some of the U.S. treasuries. So what our Scott Bessent treasurer did, he said, hold on a second, we have a lot of euros that we don't need. Instead of you selling the U.S. treasuries, because when they sell, that will raise the yields. In other words, it will raise the interest. The whole point of having Kevin Warsh as the chair of the Fed is to lower the interest rates. So what's been happening is that the gold market has been sniffing the weakness, specifically with what's been happening with the currency. And that's why gold is up. The value of the dollar is dropping, and gold is seeing the weakness in the bond market. And that's why the prices have been skyrocketing from 4,000 not too long ago, about 3 weeks ago. Today, we're at 4,600. And a lot of the banks have actually started revising up their forecast.
And I have a feeling they're probably maybe manipulating that price. It's probably maybe more than that. Before we get back into the gold, though, I want to talk about that bailout of Japan. It looks like it was very short-lived. Essentially, what we did lasted for just a couple days, and Japan and the yen went right back to where they were before Bessent made that move. Are they just going to ignore it now? Are they just going to consider that a failure?
Look, at the end of the day, the government, when they intervene, they're going to intervene at a much, much level. And multiple things are happening at the same time. Now, right now, what we're trying to do is we want the Japanese yen to be under control so that way they don't sell U.S. treasuries. It's not that we care about the Japanese yen. We care more about our yields, our debt. So what happened, to your point, is the market saw that as an opportunity. Once they intervened and the U.S. bought some U.S. bought some yen, the yen investors said, okay, well, now it's cheaper for us to buy U.S. stocks and buy other assets. So you're right. That was a short live. But the point that the U.S. Treasury made is that we are ready to intervene. And this is where there is this confusion. Is the Fed chair's role of controlling interest rates being overtaken by Scott Bessent? And that's why gold is increasing, because whenever there is question mark on the validity or the strength or the confidence in the currency, gold smells that, and that's why the prices have gone up.
Yeah, and you know, again, I do want to talk about gold with you when this is all said and done, but I think that right now what we're watching is, we've been watching it for years, whether it's Russia, whether it's China, they're trying to acquire as much gold as possible. But you have to ask yourself, it's like, are they preparing for a crash? Like, are they using gold as a safety net here? Which is kind of ironic, isn't it, Alex? Because it used to be gold was the standard. Now it's like gold is the safety net.
Yeah, I mean, we just celebrated, I shouldn't say celebrated, we had the 55th year anniversary of us getting rid of the gold standard, okay? And right now, it's not that these foreign countries and central banks, it's not that they're in love in gold. What it is, it's very simple, Owen. if there's more pressure, why should they hold a currency that it's only going to get devalued? About a week ago, our Vice President, J.D. Vance, came out and he said, I'm not sure I like the idea of the dollar being the world reserve currency. So when I heard that, I started thinking about it. I said, hold on a second. We have such a system which we benefit from. The world buys oil in dollars, and in order for them to buy that, they need our currency. Higher demand on our currency, there's more wealth for us. So if you go back and study the monetary currency and how we took over the British pound, what happened to the British country after that, they got impacted economically. Their unemployment went up, their currency collapsed, the jobs went away, and then their market crashed. So coming back to us, what I'm seeing is very simple. These countries want to have a reserve currency. Imagine this. If I'm the one who sets the policies of my country, if I know that I'm going to make strategic investments and I'm seeing the writing on the wall, what I like about gold, it's because it's a neutral asset. I am in control. The reason why Japan did not sell its U.S. Treasury bonds, it's because it's the U.S. Treasury, it's becoming a permission-based asset. Like imagine you have assets and you have to ask for someone else's permission. See, gold doesn't do that. It's a borderless asset and it's a neutral asset. I know I keep on coming back to gold. It's important for our listeners to understand how geopolitics, geo-monetary, everything is interconnected.
Well, and I think more than ever, we're seeing this now, and it's not just with gold, but it's with oil, it's with inflation, it's with the dollar going down, it's with the cost of living. And so anybody, what I'm curious now is with your clients, what are they coming to you with? Are they saying, I don't want to have money in the bank, I don't trust it? Are they saying, I don't know if the stock market can hold, I don't trust it? Are they saying, I don't know, my 401k, I think it's maxed out? What are the people that come to you that want to get into precious metals? What are their concerns right now?
So all the above, and now we'll add a couple more layers. One of the things is that they're saying, I feel like we're doing a little bit better. Our income has slightly increased, but because cost of living has increased a lot higher, we're not able to save as much. And our biggest concern is as we're getting close to retirement, where we're going to be on a fixed income, and we do have this big question mark when it comes to Social Security benefits by 2032. And if we continue this deficit spending and having this debt grow out of control, what's going to happen is we're going to pay for it. So think about the whole premise of gold used to be that you want to have this protection element, you want to have the ability to preserve, but because there's so much demand, we're seeing gold as an alpha on the portfolio. In other words, it is actually enhancing the performance of a portfolio. And that's why a lot of the, when you look at Morgan Stanley last year, when they came out and they said this conventional portfolio of 60% in stocks and 40% in bonds or vice versa is no longer viable when the currency is actually being depreciated at a faster pace. So yes, we talk about the 5 pillars of gold, which is the protection aspect, the preservation, the privacy. It's becoming huge these days. And moreover, the ability to properly diversify. And this is the mistake that I see a lot of people make, Owen. They have all of their investment in a single type of basket that is denominated by the dollar. The world is watching the dollar and they're saying, we are no longer trusting the dollar explicitly. There is no alternative to dollar yet. We get that. But when it comes to our reserves, we want to have something that it's outside of the system. And gold has been around for 5,000 of years, and that's what it's been doing quietly.
Well, obviously I like gold. My microphone is gold. I wear gold all the time. I used to have gold accents, but I'm in a different, we have a different aesthetic happening here since the last time you were on, Alex. I like gold. I don't know. It's like, I might have had a safe full of gold. I also might have lost it in a boating accident. It might be at the bottom of Lake Travis. I don't know where it might be. But all jokes aside, it's like, where I'm at is I don't like having money in the bank. I don't trust it. I don't trust that it's going to maintain its value. Mm-hmm. Or we could have a potentially bad situation. People start making bank runs. We've seen a lot of banks on the West Coast go under. Bank runs start happening. They don't have the cash. Nothing is backed up. They claim it's backed up. It's not. It's nice to have something that's actually going to maintain its value in a safe, in your home. that's what I believe. I believe that's what a lot of other people are thinking right now. But you just said something so key, and I wish the Trump administration would get this because they just don't seem to. They just think it's like, hey, why are Americans poor? Why don't they just get into the stock market? Well, they don't have money to get into the stock market and let it grow. And if they're going to do something that they feel is safe, they're betting on gold right now. They're not going to bet in the stock market as a safe backstop. I mean, maybe in the past they might have thought like that about crypto, but now it seems crypto is kind of just another ride that you get on like the stock market. People that want a safety net are getting into gold and silver probably more than ever before. I hear about it more than ever before.
Absolutely. And here's the thing. And look, I mean, you look at the left and their policies and you ask yourself, do I want someone else who is going to tax unrealized capital gain? The answer was absolutely not. But what we're seeing is that at the same time, the average person is getting impacted. Look, every dollar printed, the way I look at it, they're stealing away from our future. You look at the national debt, 40 trillion, okay? It took us 205 years to get the first trillion. Right now, within 4 or 5 months, we're adding $1 trillion. And here's a statistic that I want everyone to listen. We've had 46 presidents, okay? 2 of which combined together contribute roughly to 50% of the debt. One of them is Obama. We had about almost $9 trillion in debt. And right now we have President Trump. If you look at his first term, almost about 7.8 trillion. And right now we're about 3.8 trillion. And we're not even done with the second half. So one thing for the average person to understand is that the more they print, the more it's going to devalue. This is how the middle class is going backwards as opposed to going forward. Because the things that cost more, think about your cost of living, the premium on your insurance and food. If you're wealthy, that represents such a small percentage, which is exactly why both the government, Wall Street, and the wealthy, they want inflation. That's how it will inflate the value of the assets. But for the average American, what you want to think about is this. You're working 30, 40 years. You're doing your part. You're putting money in the bank. The bank has taken advantage of it. You're putting your money in some sort of a retirement account, 401k, and you're one incidence away from a disaster event. What if the market takes a 20, 30% step back? What if there is some sort of a correction? What will you do? If you're entirely in paper, this is a good time for you to take a step back, look at where you are in life, whether you're in your 50s, 60s, or 70s, or even 80s, have a plan. And gold is one of the assets that once you have it, it'll give you that peace of mind. We're not talking about an investment that's going to make you ultra rich. That is not the intention. Gold is not competing with NVIDIA or AMD or any of those tech stocks because it's a finite asset. It's out of the system. And that's why it's important for you to diversify at least a portion of your assets.
Well, that's such a great point that you just made. It doesn't get emphasized enough. When they inflate the currency, if you're not in the asset column, you're missing out. You're just taking a loss. Essentially, it's just a permanent loss. But like you said, if you're in the asset column, and these things rise and fall, you know, the housing market is one instance, but it's just like, yeah, they don't mind. Trump and his friends right now, they don't really mind the inflation. They don't really mind printing cash because if they own land or whatever assets that they own gold, they just know they keep printing. Trump keeps printing and spending. The price of their assets just continue to go one direction, and that's up.
Absolutely. This is why you have to start thinking like a banker. When central banks position away from an asset that is paying them interest into gold, which is not paying them any interest, it's not paying them any dividend, they must know something that we don't. Folks, these are the insiders of the money game. They set the policies. They know how much they're going to print. They know what the interest rate policy is going to be. And here's what baffles me for the average person to really understand. They're printing money out of thin air to buy an asset that they cannot print. That's the whole problem with the fiat system. Ever since we were taken off the gold standard, both politicians and bankers, anytime there's a problem, they put their hands, they shake on it. One prints to buy votes, the other one prints to get interest. You cannot be a casualty of that. That's why the oldest asset where you have sovereignty. Right now, we are sacrificing our currency, our convenience. We're paying more for convenience for financial freedom. A couple of weeks ago, I was down in Maui with my family on a trip right before they go to school. Many restaurants, I would go in, Owen, and I want to pay in cash. This is a legal tender U.S. currency. And a lot of the places said to me, we don't accept it. And I said, why? They said, well, you know, after COVID. How am I supposed to know? This is the point that I want to make. They are getting us ready to become a cashless society where they have full control, full visibility, where the money comes in, where it's going. The credit card, corporate America would love that because they're going to charge you 2 to 3% on every transaction. And Uncle Sam is going to take their cut on every single transaction. So it's important for us to understand that it doesn't make sense for us to pay more for convenience and sacrifice our financial freedom, our financial choices.
It's happening in Austin. Most of the places, I've lived in Austin over 10 years now. Most of the places I used to frequent, especially like bigger places, concert venues, sporting events, 10 years ago, they took cash. None of them will take cash this year. None. And it was like slowly but surely, everybody started removing cash from the system. I'm curious, do you believe we have audited Fort Knox? Do you believe the gold is there?
Absolutely not. Are you kidding me? They took the libertarian Rand Paul. And by the way, I love Rand Paul. Okay, I love his dad. We, as a physical precious metals dealer, we've been in business for a decade. Every time we send a metal to a depository, and we work with the most nationally recognized, from Texas to Boulder City, Nevada, to Delaware, to Brinks, you name them. It takes 24 to 48 hours for them to audit a few $100,000 worth of gold and silver. You mean to tell me that Fort Knox, which has 50% roughly of the U.S. gold reserve, for someone to walk in to audit, let me explain why this is a joke. And the average person looks at that, they'll say, oh, okay, so we have the gold. In order for the audit to happen, which they've done 50 years ago, number one, you have to inspect the quality, the quantity, and purity. Some of the bars that we have from the 30s, 40s, they're not 99.99% pure. They're 90%. Second, some of the bars that we have belongs to someone else. The reason why you want to audit, to make sure that whatever there is, it belongs to you and it's not leased out and it's not borrowed from someone else. Let me ask you this. Why is it that the French, years ago, they said, no, we want to repatriate our gold? It's one thing for you to tell me that it's there, but it's another thing for me to know that it's in my hand. That's why it's key. See, we can't tell the world that we don't have enough gold. Are you kidding? They're going to lose confidence even further. As it is, they're losing confidence on the dollar. And as a matter of fact, the more we put sanctions, just last week or earlier this week, Scott Bessent came out and said they're going to put sanctions on countries that are assisting Iran to take them out of the dollar system. Folks, the BRICS nation, Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa, and their members, they're already building the alternative to the SWIFT system. They're already building their own financial pipeline and plumbing system that doesn't depend on the U.S. currency and the dollar. And the more we push them, the more they're going to seek the alternative because they have no other option but to. And when it gets to that point, little by little, we're going to have less utilization of the dollar, and this is not good for us.
You mean the crooks in government and politics? You wouldn't trust them? You don't trust them to tell the truth about Fort Knox or not steal our gold?
Imagine this. You and I are hungry, okay? And all of a sudden I say, hey, Owen, could you do me a favor? Could you watch my dinner? What do you think will happen after 2-3 hours? Are you going to stare at it for the entire time? There comes a point where you're going to start salivating. You have your carnal urges that you're going to start eating the food. That's exactly what happens when you let someone else control your money.
There it is. Get the gold, put it in your safe, know it's there. And if you want to do it, you got to go with our friends at Allegiance Gold and Alex Ebkarian. Quickly, before we let you go, people might want to know about crypto. People might give you a call and ask you about crypto. Do you guys handle crypto too?
We don't. We specialize with physical precious metals, gold, silver, platinum, and palladium.
So there you go, guys. If you're interested in gold, give them a call. Gold, silver, Allegiance Gold. Great sponsor of the show. Alex, thank you so much for sponsoring the show. Thank you for being here and keeping us updated with all the latest news in the gold markets.
Absolutely. And by the way, just let us know that you came from Owen and you qualify up to 5,000 in promotional silver and promotional gold.
There you guys. There you go. You hear it right there from the source. You can't beat that.
Thanks for having me, Owen. It's always a pleasure.
Alex. We'll chat soon. Guys, protectwithowen.com. That's the website. If you're ready to move into gold, if you're looking for that safety net, protectwithowen.com. And as you heard him say, the phone call is free, guys. You can give him a free phone call, ask any questions, any concerns you have. Pick up the phone. The phone call is free, 844-790-9191, 844-790-9191. And while you have them on the phone, you just heard it right from the source, ask them about $5,000 in free gold and silver with qualified investments. 401k, IRA savings, no problem. They can make it switch to gold before the next reset, or go to protectwithowen.com. That's protectwithowen.com. Folks, we love our sponsors. If you like the show, that's what makes the show possible. Our sponsors. Go to protectwithowen.com. Get a safety net in gold, guys. I wouldn't be telling you to do that if I wasn't doing it myself, by the way. But my gold safe got lost in Lake Travis. So if the feds come looking for my gold, I have to tell them they're going to have to go get some scuba gear, and it's somewhere at the bottom of Lake Travis. I don't know where it is, guys. It's not here, though. I once had gold. Actually, Alex has it all. They can go hunt him down if he's not in Hawaii again. All right, here's what I want to do. We got about 40 minutes left. I got a couple other news stories. I will take some more calls because I don't think we're going to have we don't have 40 minutes of news. What was the show? You know, I kind of want to go back, actually, and I want to look at something. Maybe I can do this quickly myself. What was the day, guys? I think there was a day we had the show title about World War III. Yeah, that was last Friday. Yeah. We were talking about the concept of World War III last Friday and how really we are already in World War III. It's just, everything is propaganda. So you think World War, you think, storming beaches, bombs dropping, nuclear bombs, countries, everything else, soldiers on the ground. In the modern sense, I don't know if that applies. I could make the case, and I did last week, that we're already in World War III. Well, isn't that funny? Here's the New York Times headline today. Has World War III already started?
And that's another home run from the great Babe Ruth.
Yeah. Light years ahead of the rest, ladies and gentlemen. Speaking of light years, SpaceX unveils $100 billion Starbase Louisiana, 30 Starship flights a day. Did you hold your SpaceX? Starbase Louisiana. I'm a big fan of this. I guess the space is fake and gay people probably think this is fake and gay too. I don't know. I actually like this, but I have to tell you, they did a similar thing in Austin. Or not Austin, I'm sorry, South Padre, Texas. And Starbase is at like the southernmost tip of the state of Texas. If you know the geography much, it's South Padre Island is right there. Kind of a cool spot for people to go for spring break, and then Starbase is right next to it. So now people go there and they can watch rockets take off and whatever's going on with Starbase. And it's funny, when they first announced that over a year ago, I believe, I remember looking at property in South Padre, not far from Starbase, thinking as like this stuff, once Starbase is active and once you have these flights going up, that this property is going to be huge. And I remember I was looking at a property specifically. It wasn't too big of a property. It was a nice little beach house in South Padre. It was like $300,000. And within a year, it's now over $1 million. Just nothing has really changed in South Padre. They just built this Starbase. And I guess everybody's anticipating, like I did, that this is going to cause a major tourism boom, industry boom, maybe 10, 20 years away, but it's just like, it kind of seems inevitable. I would say the same thing is going to happen in Louisiana. Here's what's crazy about this too, though. This is a little local lore today. There's this famous shop. It's like a gift shop in South Padre. They got this big shark mouth entrance. You can see on the screen here. South Padre Island's iconic Jaws shark is coming down after its collapse. It's the South Padre here in Texas. It's It's actually amazing. It's a great beach. It's a cool little island town. It's so, I don't want to, how can I explain it? I mean, it's like ghetto, like ratchet. I don't know how to explain it. It's like, if you've ever been to one of those like old lake towns, there's just locals that just like living on the lake. It's just like kind of in disrepair. You know, the houses there's no new houses, just kind of like in disrepair. South Padre is like that. I wonder if it's always going to stay that way. And I wonder if whenever they do this in Louisiana, if you're going to see a big boom, real estate boom, industry boom in Louisiana. I'd love to see them fix up South Padre because it really is kind of in disrepair. But now that everybody's going down there with Starbase, maybe they can fix it. But that's like the image. It's like, here's the shark entrance and it collapses. Like, that's South Padre in a nutshell. It's like, wow, this is a cool thing. And then it collapses on your head. So it's like, fix it up a little bit, Texas. You know, let's get that thing fixed up. Probably be a lot better for tourism if you guys could figure that deal out. So Starbase coming to Louisiana. There you go. There you go. All right, what else do we have here? Did you guys see this crime? There's a mafia boss who got offed in broad daylight in Israel. 3 arrests over murder of crime boss. Police announced the arrest of 3 people suspected of involvement in the point-blank assassination of Yanis Yushvayev at a gas station. He's a 40-year-old described in Hebrew media as the head of the Caucasian mafia in Israel. He was repeatedly arrested on suspicion of involvement in violent crime, but never convicted. The head of the Caucasian mafia assassinated at point-blank range in Israel. It's a crazy video, if you saw that, by the way. What is this on my desk? What in the heck is this? I feel like I've lost my way. Healthcare anxiety is rising. Money is the #1 reason. Well, I guess that's just about Americans struggling. Maybe this thing was misplaced in my stack. Healthcare anxiety is rising, and money is the #1 reason. Well, that's the golden age. That's the golden age, guys. Come on. What do you mean? Healthcare anxiety? Money? It's the golden age. What are you worried about? Go buy some stock. Didn't you see the Dow? And what is this deal? What is this deal with all these conferences with Jewish people? Can somebody, nobody has conferences. It's every damn weekend. And now you've got Ivanka up here with Marian Adelson talking about how great it is and how they're Jewish and everything. It's like, what the hell is going on, man? What in the hell is going on? Good Lord. Christopher Hitchens. You know, the more you look into this stuff, the more you realize nothing is new as far as Israel is concerned. None of this is new. This is Christopher Hitchens in the 90s talking about the situation with Israel.
I think Zionism, the idea of building a state of Jewish farmers on Arab land in the Middle East, is a stupid idea to begin with. I've always thought so. I've always thought it's a silly, messianic, superstitious nationalist idea, and it's a waste of Judaism. And it guaranteed a quarrel with the Arabs because it meant we're going to take away from you what's most precious, your land, by trying to make Jews into peasants. Already a silly idea. That's not the way to rescue Central European Jewry, make them into farmers in Palestine. Guaranteed an injustice to the Arabs, which now anyone can see, and is now entering its 3rd, 4th generation. 4th generation of Palestinians brought up either in exile or dispossession or under occupation and humiliation. And now we know something has to be done to address what is part of the original, let's not call it original sin, original misconception of the thing. So I've been writing in favor of Palestinian homeland all my life, and I'm no more, no less in favor of it than I was recently. But it should be a matter of principle. If Jews born in Brooklyn have a right to a state in Palestine, then Palestinians born in Jerusalem have a right to a state in Palestine. Anyone who doesn't agree with that principle, I think, is suspect.
I think most people do.
They do, but why in that case do we have the one and not the other? After all, it's America that pays for all this and arms the Israelis and is very much involved in it. If it's a matter of principle, then we should have witnessed to it a bit more forcibly.
it's hard to, because everything he says there is so spot on. And is it like this guy was so ahead of the time and you just appreciate his foresight, or is it nothing ever changes over there and it's always the same story? No matter what. 90s, 2020s, it's the same damn story. And we're still paying for it, and people are still dying, and there's no justice. And the logical consistency that he puts to the stress test there remains true. Remains true. All right, we still have a little bit of time. We got a couple of super chats. We're not too overwhelmed with super chats. Shouldn't take us too long with super chats from YouTube. So I think we can squeeze in a couple more calls. You know, I got to say, the calls have been really great. The calls have been fantastic, I have to say. We have been really getting great callers lately. So cheers to the callers. And let's take a couple. Let's take a couple before we sign off. All right, phone lines are back open. 747-255-60, 747-255-60. You know the rules by now. Let's do this. All right, caller, what's your name? Where are you from? You know what? I'm not going to deal with that. We'll try that again. Next caller, what's your name? Where you're from?
Hey, how you doing? This is Ken from South Florida. How you doing, Owen?
I'm doing good, Ken. Thank you. What's up?
All right. So one of the most triggering things that a lot of these Trump tards have been saying, I just can't get over it, is the fact that they're saying that the original base that got Trump into the White House to begin with, well, we were never supporters in the first place. And I just thought that was so disingenuous. Did they not see... I used to work for insurance back in 2016, and I was a consistent watcher of InfoWars and Alex Jones, and I saw it all. I think it was you, it was Melly Weaver at the time, Leanne. I saw all of you nearly risk your lives, having your cars keyed in, having stuff thrown at you, seeing you get assaulted, getting shot at. So for the audacity for these people to say that we were never supported, we were never supporters in the first place, it's just baffling.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, let me make sense of it for you, because I wouldn't, you're thinking too much. You're thinking too deeply about it. The truth is, these people are very shallow. And as I said, these are now the lowest information, lowest IQ people in politics. It's just the truth. The MAGA cult is now the most low information, low IQ people in politics. And that doesn't mean that everybody that supports Trump falls into that category. There are still people that support Trump that don't have to support everything, but they have their reasons for supporting Trump. So I don't want to make too broad of a stroke here, but I think we know the types I'm talking about. You know, here's all I can say to that. As you said, I've been there. I've been there since 2015. I've been in the streets. I've been in the media. I've been in D.C. And I can tell you who was there and who wasn't, right? I can tell you who was there and who wasn't. And most of these cult members, especially the ones that love to come at me every day, they were not there. They were not there. And if anything, they were anti-Trump at the time. So really, they're just ignorant. They're just ignorant, and they just assume that everybody is as ignorant as they are. But, you know, let me tell you one other thing, Ken, since you bring this up. And I don't like talking about it too much. A lot of the stuff I had to deal with is public, obviously. But I will tell you this. There's a lot of stuff I never talk about. There's a lot of stuff I never talk about. I don't want to talk about. I mean, when I talk about having to move and get a new studio, I mean, guys, I don't think people understand what has happened to me at this house. And you've seen some of it. You've seen some of the videos. I mean, it's insane. It's insane what I've had to go through living at this house. It is nuts. And the reason I don't talk about it is because I don't want to give them any ammo. I don't want to give them any fuel. I don't want them to think that it bothers me or that they even know where I'm at. But it's crazy what I have to deal with. I mean, I basically, not only do I have to move because I want to build a bigger studio, I mean, it's like I have to move for my own safety. And what's strange is, these instances have kicked up more now under Trump, and since I've been more critical of Trump, they've now, for some reason, kicked up even more. So I'm a little suspicious about that, I have to tell you, Ken.
I tell you, this is it's like what you said earlier. This was nothing like Obama. It was much harder to get Trump into the White House, you know? So I think these people, they need to do their research. They need to get educated, man. That's why this betrayal hurts so much.
But they're not serious people, and that's the problem, Ken, and I thank you for the call. They're just not serious people. They're cheerleaders. They're cult members. They can't talk policy. They can't talk anything. All they know is Trump. That's it. All they know is Trump and how to cheerlead and support Trump. That is the entire depth of their political understanding and knowledge. And that's what we're dealing with, unfortunately. Next caller, what's your name? Where you from?
Oh, and hey, this is Jimmy from St. Louis.
Jimmy in St. Louis. When I see the 314 on the area code, you know I love it.
Hey, man, yeah, why don't you move back? Hey, but anyway, you know, we're named after St. Louis because of one of the good things he did. He put the Talmud, the Jewish religion holy book, on trial. You know, and
was that the French? Are you talking about the French Catholics?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. The King Leo, or King King St. Louis, and anyway, he found them guilty of, we cannot ever deal with them, of their betrayal and their lying. It's their duty to lie to us and misinform us, and they have a day on Yom Kippur to lie to us for the next coming year. They don't even need to go to their synagogue and do that, because it's their duty in their Talmud to do that to us anyway.
You know,
So
here's the problem that people will have, and it's they'll listen to your call, they'll hear what you're saying, and they'll say, well, gee, you know, this is not something that I'm supposed to hear. This is not mainstream. This is a religious debate. This is, what are we talking about here? A theological debate? And I just say, you know what? Here's the problem. If you're going to sit here and you're going to make such claims like this is your holy land and God promised you this land and it's some covenant with God 3,000 years old and this is your theology, well, then why aren't other people allowed to talk about your theology? Why aren't people allowed to talk about other angles or opinions of this said theology? So it just becomes this entire gatekeeping campaign, and we see it now with the censorship. And it's a total double standard. So it's like, hey, I'm allowed to enforce my will based off of my theology, based off of my religion, but you're not. In fact, if your religion gets in the way of my religion, that's considered anti-Semitic and now even a crime. And so it's just like, well, what are we talking about here? We're talking about a religious supremacy, but it's just like, oh, you're not supposed to talk about it. You're not allowed to talk about it. And then people say, well, why aren't I allowed to talk about it? And now, oh, I see why I'm not allowed to talk about it.
Owen, let me tell you something. Their book starts off with, if non-Jews look into their book, they deserve the death penalty for looking into it, because if we knew what was in their book, we would surely want to kill them all. And nobody has ever done that. Nobody has ever wanted to kill them all or anything. It's just that they've been kicked out of 109 countries 1,030 times. And, you know, it's for reasons.
Well, listen to this. You know, you say this and people are going to be, what you just said is going to freak people out. What you just said is going to drive people crazy. But I'll just put it like this. People say that about Muslims every day. People say exactly what he just said about Muslims every single day. And nobody seems to have a problem with that. That seems to be fully socially acceptable. No problem. You can say that about Muslims, but nobody else. Why the double standard? You know that thing about logic. You know what I have to say about that. All right, next caller. We had an issue with your phone earlier. Let's see if it works this time. Go ahead. Go ahead. All right, well, that guy figured out how to work a phone, bud. Next caller, what's your name? Where you from?
From New York, Mario.
Mario, what's up?
What's going on?
You tell me, brother. You're on the air.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Yeah, just want to let you know, I think Trump is really trying to fuck up America right now. Sorry, the language. But think about what's going on in Canada right now. He's starting to do the double tariffs over there, and Canada tariffs us now. So that eliminates us in a lot of stuff too, like aluminum and stuff like that. So that's kind of pressuring us America and being our hands strapped on Donald Trump. So, other than that, that's it I wanted to tell you. What do you think about that?
Well, you know what? Let me just say two things. I would rephrase what you said. I don't think the approach is from Trump. I don't think the approach is he wants to screw America. I don't think the drive here is that Trump wants to destroy America. I think that that's ultimately the result of what he's doing. I think what Trump is actively doing is they're basically just stealing everything they can before he gets out of office. Now, obviously, you sit there and you say, well, Owen, that doesn't make sense. If Trump is gutting the country and giving it all to his friends and family, that is destroying the country. Yes, I know, but he's not looking at it that way. In case you guys haven't noticed, there is clearly some sort of a weird derangement and psychosis happening inside of this administration where they think if they just say something, it exists. It's like if they just say golden age, then it's the golden age. They really believe that. They actually believe that. So, yeah, Trump is gutting this country for his friends and family, but he really thinks if he tells you it's the golden age that it's true and you'll believe it. So, obviously, that's not going to happen. But, you bring up the tariffs. I was thinking about this the other day, and I don't remember if it was a Tim Dillon segment. Somebody did a segment about the tariffs. It was a comedic bit. It might have been Tim Dillon. But it was this comedic bit. And I'm sitting there after listening to that. It was funny, but I'm like, you know what? It's actually not funny. I do not think there is nearly enough outrage over what President Trump did to this country with tariffs, guys. What Trump did to this country with those tariffs was such a disaster. I don't even think it can be comprehended. In fact, honestly, it's almost to the point where we should be so ticked off, we should be demanding mass arrests for this. There should be investigations into whatever the hell they did with these tariffs and whoever the hell's idea it was and why the hell it went so badly. And if you want to blame the Supreme Court, blame the Supreme Court. If you want to ask the Supreme Court why they did it, we'll go look at the reason why they did it. Folks, they stole trillions of dollars. I don't know how else to say this. Trump's tariffs, they charged you money. You had to pay more money because of Trump's tariffs. And then he thought they would retain that money. And then the Supreme Court said, you can't retain that money. You actually have to pay these companies money. And then we had to pay for it again. The American people had to pay for Trump's tariffs twice. And it just so happens the American people that are broke, the American people that are living paycheck to paycheck that had to pay for Trump's tariffs twice, we had to give all that money to the richest people in the country. The richest people in the country, the 1% of the people in this country where every penny seems to end up in their bank account, we had to pay them twice. Trump literally reached into our pocket, grabbed our wallet, and gave it to his friends and said, oh, this was a failed tariff maneuver. We are not nearly outraged enough about these tariffs. I'm debating whether I'm going to go. At 20 minutes left of the show, I don't know if I want to go max. I don't know if I want to go max with 20 minutes left here on a Tuesday. But I have to tell you guys, Trump fucked us so hard with these tariffs. I mean, honestly, we should be outraged what Trump did to us with these tariffs. We should be outraged. And there's not even a sense of remorse. There's not even a sense of regret. And now he's about to do the exact same thing again. What are we doing? Honestly, I'm going to tell you right now, of all the things that Trump has done that have screwed us, of all the things that Trump has done that have totally betrayed us, the tariffs might be the most offensive. What this administration did to us with these tariffs is disgusting. It is disgusting, and he doesn't even have an ounce of remorse. There needs to be outrage over what Trump did with these tariffs. I mean, the American people should be in unison pissed off at what Donald Trump did with these tariffs. We should be outraged. I'm talking marches outraged. But it's just like, psh, nothing. Notice, nobody, you had all these anti-Trump events, 2016 to 2020. Anti-Trump events every weekend, all the time, millions of people. Where are they? Why are they gone? Trump's the establishment now, guys. Get used to it. Trump is now a corrupt member of the establishment. There's a reason why you don't see anti-Trump marches. There's a reason why you don't see marches against Trump sending us to war. There's a reason why you don't see activity about Trump taking trillions of dollars from the American people and calling it tariffs. Because he's the establishment now. They're not organizing these events. Trump's one of them now. They're not putting people out in the streets. They all work together. Who remembers? What was it? 3 months ago, they come out with the big story, the Trump administration. Look, they got the funding for all the protest groups. Look, they got the funding. What happened? Nothing. Nothing. Trump's with them now. There's no protest over flock cameras. Where's Antifa? Where's Black Lives Matter? There's no protest over Trump's insider trading. Where's the march on Wall Street? Because Trump's one of them now. There's a reason why they're not organizing and funding marches against Trump anymore, guys. He's with them. And Trump just pillaged trillions of dollars from this country and gave it to his friends. There should be outrage. Outrage. It is unforgivable what Trump has done to this country and our people. Unforgivable. And I'm going to tell you this right now. Every day the American people have to sit here and watch that disgusting pig, lying, traitorous TV show called The White House and the Trump administration. It's just going to get worse and worse, guys. It's just going to get worse and worse. And every day Trump has to come out there and excuse why the economy's bad. And every day Trump has to come out there and excuse why there's no mass deportations. And every day Trump has to come out there and make up some new greatest hits classic about what's going on with the war in Iran. It's a joke. It's a joke. We should be outraged. This man is so clueless and detached from the American people. He does not care about you. I'm so pissed off about what he did with these tariffs, guys. We should be outraged. Donald Trump and his administration reached into your wallet and gave it to his friends and called it tariffs. One of the biggest thefts we have ever seen in American politics. When it's all said and done, Trump's tariffs will likely go down as the biggest theft in the history of American politics, the biggest transfer of wealth. Notice how the two biggest transfers of wealth both happened under Donald Trump, COVID and now the tariffs. Both transfers of wealth, taking money from the lower and middle class and giving it to the top 1%. It's disgusting. Donald Trump is everything he ran against. Donald Trump is everything we voted against. Little rant before we go into our super chats here, but it's true. It's totally true. Everybody will figure it out eventually. It's so obvious. All right, we're going to go to our super chats on YouTube as we do to close every show. Folks, please give us a follow on YouTube. Appreciate the numbers growing over there. That's how we grow the show. Go to the Owen Report on YouTube. Give us a subscribe. Give us a like. Really helps grow the show. Really appreciate that, guys. Thank you. Dust Vault, I don't care about Americans' economic plight because the Argentinians are fighting for their lives, panicking. Yes, well, that's Trump. That's what Trump says, so obviously MAGA agrees. MAGA is now make Argentina great again. MAGA now loves Argentina more than America, but they just, whatever Trump tells them to do. Dust Vault. Alex is taking money from foreign governments to give to the Bloomberg Group. Dan Bongino and the MAGA are a joke and have clown world logic. I don't know about that first point. Yeah, Bongino is just beyond a shell of himself now. The only time Dan Bongino's show is even relevant is when he's doing some, personal attacks against somebody like me. Outside of that, I don't think anybody cares what he has to say anymore. If Alex Jones is fried, then what is Trump? Deep fried. I don't know. Scam Bongino, vote harder. Scam Bongino. Cutesy time is over. It's time to embrace the suck. God, did anybody who out of, honestly, Trump and Bongino ended up being like the two biggest phonies out there. MAGA attacking farmers was a Babe Ruth. Get ready, brother. Get ready. A lot more of this is coming. You know, they call me the Babe Ruth because we call the shots here. Wooded Bagley wore my official Owen Report polo red to the bar the other night, pulled a heavy-set woman back to my hotel for some extracurricular. Boy, I was lucky to have the athletic weave fibers on that one. All right. Congratulations. I can't say. I don't think I can legally say that the shirts can get you laid, okay? I don't think I can legally say that. But if Wooded Bagley is making that case, then, take that how you want. By the way, on that front, I'm glad that you brought that up because now I'm going to have to give DMT a bit of a hard time here. He's not going to like this. He's not going to like this. He got half of what we needed done. I told him, we got the new Disobey Propaganda shirts out, and I told him we needed it in female. He got one of them. We do have the red one in the female. We don't have the light blue. We'll get that fixed. Don't worry. He'll have that up. We have the women's tees available now. The Disobey Propaganda women's tees are available now. We'll get the light blue up before the end of the night. He'll have that done in a minute. I'm giving DMT a hard time. He's doing a bunch of stuff right now. This is just another thing that was in the stack for him to do. We'll have that. We're gonna have the women's t-shirts. We got the Clown World women's t-shirts. We do have t-shirts for women. I'm guessing you are talking about the Owen Report polo right here in red is my guess. Yes. Yes, there it is right there. By the way, these are the shirts I wear on air, and you can get them at owenschroyer.store. That's where you can get all the stuff I wear on the show, the shirts and the polos at owenschroyer.store. Thank you for that. All right, where am I at here? We got to go back into our super chats. All right. South Carolina is going to turn on Trump tonight. Norman win. Ralph Norman, there's no early returns yet. No. Can Darlene Graham get into the Senate? And what a joke that would be, wouldn't it? That would be such an epitome of where MAGA is at. So pathetic. Such political shills. MAGA used to be anti-Lindsey Graham. Now MAGA is so pro-Lindsey Graham, they'll put his sister in there just because her last name is Graham. I mean, that tells you everything about where MAGA is at now. Total cult. Stands for nothing. I'd like to see Lady Graham lose. JM Dog Patriot. Has it ever been this obvious with Kushner? No, actually. It's never been more obvious. And he's starting to embrace the demon look, too. It's starting to take over. He's got a Soros thing happening right now. Jared Kushner is like slowly turning into George Soros. I can't believe that worm can get near any of these leaders. I'm pretty sure Kushner is a robot. These mafia members trying to buy more support. No, I think Kushner's a human. What a weird deal that is, man. What a weird deal. 666 Avenue, Jared Kushner. I can't believe... Oh, sorry, I already read that. Lock him up, Hill Dog. Yeah! Yes! I was going to say that. I don't think I said it. I had it in my mind. I didn't say it. So you get it today, Dust Vault. Hillary 2028. Lock him up. Lock him up. I'm going to the Hillary rallies. Hillary 2028. Lock him up. Let's go. Could you at least give Lil Baby Oil Donald? Give us Lil Baby Oil Donald? No, I don't want to know. Nope. Why not Lake Trump? Don't give him any ideas. He'll call it the Trump States of America. Don't give him any ideas, Meat Stretcher. The Golden Age Meat Stretcher. I've decided to change the name of the country. United Trumps of America. United States of Trump. Because why not? I'm the best thing that's ever happened to this country. Best thing that's ever happened to the world. Somebody come change my diaper. We got a messy one over here. Where's Natalie? Natalie, we got to poop. We got a poopy one. Come get it. The Emperor Palpatine. They don't seem to care about the midterms and the effect Trump will have because they are going to steal it and try to say we were all wrong and debunked. Yeah, that'll be a fun thing to go through. Oh, don't stop. I can't. Ivan, a lot of liberals are against trans surgeries for minors. That needle is going in the right direction. You are free to do what you want once you turn 18. I think that that's eventually where this goes. It's common sense. MTG was right about the Jewish lasers. I know. Isn't that funny? Remember how much trouble they gave her, and it turns out she was right? I mean, it's just like same old. Employ strong for life. You are awesome and have an amazing outlook and attitude. Read Black Pill Politics versus Life. I love that. Trying to put together a test run for my Covenant training system. Been working on for months online and dumbbells. Not worried about money. Hit me up if you're interested in pushing your heart, mind, and faith. Google Employ Strong Training Bay Area for my info. There you go. Employ Strong for Life. You know, I was thinking about this on your first comment. And the caller from earlier that you were referencing, because it does happen. I'm not too concerned. I've been doing media long enough that it's like eventually you become numb to the response mechanism. So it's just like whatever you get, the hate you get, the attention, it's just like, it's just part of the game. So I don't put too much stock into it. But I've been thinking about the whole thing lately where, because I don't like this label of black pillar. I don't like this label of doomer because it's kind of the antithesis of everything that we really stand for. It's kind of the exact opposite of what we are. But I understand the interpretation. It's like if you just watch my politics or you just watch this show, it's just like, okay, you know, that's all you're getting essentially. But that's really not my identity or who I am. That's just, we just do political talk. So I've been thinking about how do you balance that out? Do you do different content? You can't really, you don't want to force it into the show. You know what I mean? You don't force that into the show. It just doesn't fit. You just do the show. But maybe you do different content. Maybe you find different ways of just kind of showing who you are, not politically. Because it's not about the perception of me. It's about the perception of us, of what it is we stand for, what it is we fight for. It's not because we're black pillars because government and politics is corrupt. It's because we're so white-pilled on life. It's because we love life so much. We love America so much, and we have the vision of the future. That's what drives us. So it's just like, it's totally unfair to call us doomers and black pillars. I don't even care about the panicans thing because it's like, what are you talking about? You were all panicans. You guys are the ones that said if we don't elect Trump, the country's dead. You guys are the ones saying if we don't win the midterms, the country is cooked. So who's the real panican? So, I mean, we're all panicans here. You guys just decided, oh, now that Trump's in, everything's fine. So you just stand for nothing. You're just, you know, liars and frauds. But no, we're not black-pilled. We're not doomers. We're lovers. We love life. We enjoy life. We want to see everybody get the most out of life. We want to see free and prosperous America future. That's what we want. That's not black-pilling. We're just realists when it comes to politics. BB Benko. J.D. Vance, a Manchurian candidate manufactured by mastermind Peter Thiel, a fake nationalist who changed his name 3 times, married a foreign liberal, and serves the ruling global tech elites. You know, I don't get too much into the Peter Thiel stuff. You know, people cover it enough. They have their issues. Did you see the story? I'm wondering if it's true. I just don't care enough. But did you see, apparently Peter Thiel has like paid Clavicular like almost $1 million on his live streams. What is that about? Is that one real? That whole thing is strange to me, I have to say. You know what, actually? I think that whole thing is fake. I have to tell you. I was watching this video the other day, and there's no doubt that he got some online clout, and there's no doubt that the whole looks-maxing thing caught on and has created a genre and a brand that he drove. There's no denying that. I'd say the nose job was a bad move. I don't get that. He definitely lost aura with the nose job, but whatever. He can do whatever he wants. But I'm watching these videos, and I'm seeing this, like, Beatles treatment he gets, and I'm like, that has to be fake. They have to be paying these women. These are probably like online prostitutes, escorts, OnlyFans girls. And I think that they're just paying these people to show up and treat him like he's a member of the Beatles. I don't buy it. I'm sorry. I don't buy it. I've hung out with like true celebrities. Like, I mean, truly household name celebrities, athletes, everything. I've gone out. I've never seen anybody get a response like that. Never. I've hung out with people like scored the game-winning basket at the buzzer of a college game, and I go out with them afterwards. Nobody gets this treatment. So I just think the whole thing is fake now. The debate with Adam was lame. That guy was low energy. Now, that's just kind of how Adam King approaches his show. I had a fun time. I thought it was a good debate. I thought that was a good show, actually. I enjoyed that. If our Congress was going to kiss the black cube in Saudi Arabia, maybe the boomers would wake up. Kissing the wall is fine, though. Great point. Oh, my gosh. Oh, my gosh. That's it. We have to start generating AI content of them kissing the black cube. There it is. There it is. Oh, my gosh. Trump kissing the black cube. Loomer kissing the black cube. They'll freak out. They'll panic. They'll go nuts. And it'll be like, oh, but the wall's okay. Bing. We've had multiple bait and switches today. The Hillary Clinton bit, the black cube bit. I'm telling you guys, bait and switch, there it is. Oh, my gosh. It's brilliant. It's brilliant. Never hold back, Owen. Go max always. Well, if you go max always, you end up crashing out. Hey, crashout.energy. At least there are Lindsey Clancy protests. You know, I have been avoiding that because I'm just not interested. But I have to say, this is one of the strangest things I've ever seen. Why is anybody standing up for that woman? Am I crazy? I'll admit, I'm not very invested in it. I know the details. I mean, I know the details. I'm not emotionally invested. I don't talk about it on the show. Why is anybody supporting this woman? What is going on? What in the hell? How could anybody support this woman? And I got to say, it's actually extremely frightening. Because the only answer I can provide here, this is a crazy one. The only answer I can provide is that these women, they want to justify killing their own kids. Because what? They have a mental break? What is going on? How can anybody defend this woman? This is one of the craziest things I've ever seen. I've got to tell you. And again, I'm like, it kind of is inconsequential. I'm not really too concerned, but it's like, I mean, she killed her kids. Why are you defending this woman? What is wrong with you people? Have we lost our minds? Have we just, I'm like, you guys, why are you defending this? You want the excuse to do it yourselves? You want the justification in case you want to do it? What are we doing? They think that she did it and they're defending it and excusing it. What kind of a monster does this? I'm baffled. I'm like, what? It's like the abortion crowd. It is like the abortion crowd, guys. What in the hell? That's got to be one of the strangest things I've ever seen. That is just nuts. And you know what? You know what? The American family court system needs to see this and say, yeah, you know what? It's time to kind of just switch everything. It needs to be pro-father now. The father is now the one that should be getting custody most of the time. If not, the father should get full custody, it's assumed, until it's decided otherwise. That's how this should be received, because this is nuts. This is nuts. And a man would not behave that way. Wow. Do I think Tyler Robinson is a patsy? I'd say right now I do still believe that, yes. And if he did do it, if they can convince me that he did it, I don't think he acted alone. But I'm not convinced he did it yet. And I do think he was a patsy. That's his role. But if they can convince me he did it in the court, then I would say he didn't act alone. Where is Pete Kegbreath in all of this? I'll defend Pete in this. I think he's in over his head. I think Trump has put him in an impossible position. And now I think Trump wants to put him in a position to be blamed for his failures. It's kind of how I see this going. Elon is silent when it comes to Flock. Brett McIntyre. You know what? I haven't paid attention to that. I'll take you at your word. I mean, think of that what you want. Drake, it's the last 2 days whore of Babylon's spirit. I don't know what that is. Is that the eclipse coming up on Thursday? Is this an astrological thing, I'm guessing, then? There's an eclipse Thursday night. Is that what you're referring to here, Jake? I can only assume. Hey, that's going to do it, guys. I am about to hop on a show after this. Let's see what we got here. To the people that told me to go max, my mom is glad I didn't today. My mom is appreciating the fact I didn't go max. So there you go. Nothing wrong with a little love from your dear mother before you sign off the show. Thank you, Ken. Thank you very much. All right, I'm about to go on another show, guys. I'll share it. I don't have time to go get the information for you right now. I got to sign off. I got to hop in with them. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. God bless, Godspeed. Folks, remember, give us a follow on YouTube. Really helps us grow the show. The Owen Report on YouTube. Give us a subscribe there. Help us grow the show. Thanks for all the super chats. We take a 21-hour break. Same time, same channel. We'll do it all again tomorrow.